the series, and we continue from where we stopped, basically in this series. And in the first five part of the series, this is basically our progress so far, and we are in the part six. Remember, we are working with this. This is what we are working on. This is what we are trying to implement. And so far, so good. We've been able to implement a lot of it. We are building an annotation marker for the web, and then have it sync with your mobile as well. So there's full sync, lot of data, but easily accessible. You do not miss anything from 9 henceforth. That's what we are trying to make available for everyone. So basically, with this now, we have all of this implemented. We have the text annotation features. We have the redo, the undo, and the save feature implemented, which we tested in the part 5 of the series. So if you have not seen any of the series, we've literally built this from scratch. So you can feel free to join any of the or watch any of the parts just to understand what we've done so far and follow along because it's a series, right? It's a 7 day series, and this is what we are trying to accomplish. So in this case, basically, this is the part 5, and in this part 6 rather, and the part 6 of this series, we are going to work on finishing all of this, the index DB that we want to implement. But currently, it's not even now in the list of what I'm planning to do anymore because we already have a store that manages this properly for us. So what we can do right now is to make sure it works well. I mean, the part 6 of it works well without even needing to like stress much about what is currently implemented. And if that is done, that's all we need to focus on. And then we start packaging the extension for the store. And like I said, I already have an extension on the Chrome store, so packaging this shouldn't be a problem. So if you really want to learn how this works, follow along and you get to understand before the end of today's episode. So let's jump into it. So we already have this implemented. We have implemented most of the functionality. So we say, what do we want to do? Because we know we have computations. So we want to achieve speed. We've already achieved that. So a lot of free features. We already give you all of these features for free, and everything works perfectly well. You said we wanted to make it have a premium feature, but currently we are not dealing with anything premium. We want users to have it for free for a while. Then before we talk about premium features, when we have enough users that already like what we've built, then we can talk about premium, right? That's the plan. So you want to have a reasonable pro tier plan, which we already agreed. We have a monthly promo for every user in case you want to move to our pro plan. Every single month, there's a promo. So the first 10 days of the month, you can use that to connect and buy any of the tools. So that's the normal price. You can wait for the first 10 days of the month and make a purchase, literally bonuses. So the next thing is easy accessibility, right? Have an over button that allows you to easily capture the page that you are currently. So this is what we are talking about. So if I close this, you see this red button here is what I have. That's the button. So let me even go back here and mark that as complete because we literally have completed that. So we have done that. Then we have a lot of free features. We've done that. This is pending. We've not done the seek engine. Why? Because we want it to be accessible both on your browser or your desktop and your mobile immediately, which we want to implement today. So the next thing we want to talk about here is now what I was talking about is this, the annotation, the button that floats, that allows you to be able to access the extension at any page you are working with. So let's say I'm browsing Plasma page, for instance, and I decide to go to, I want to check Radix for any reason. And while I was checking Radix, I really like the easy, and I said, okay, probably just to get them. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it because it's accessible. Like I literally have floating entering my face. It's not in my face. With anything to like stress or anything. And then I mark it this way. Of course, this doesn't render it well. Accessibility, the way Canvas works. So there's a lot of issues we still need to resolve. You can see the colors and the icons. Yeah. But you can see the annotation still works. So basically, this is a problem that we need to resolve. And we can see our undo or redo. So what I'm going to do is to retake it again. Might be just font or CSS issues that didn't capture the first time. All right, didn't capture the second time. So we might assume that, okay, this page doesn't work the way we want. We want to capture another page, right? But now we already know that not all the pages are being captured properly. So we need to find a way to resolve all of these issues. You can see. So there are many reasons why this may have happened that we didn't look into. It's understandable. The different pages have the way in which they work, and the way our snap to or snap the screenshot or take the screenshot works is a bit different, and so it works for different pages also. So next, I might decide to say, okay, I want Google, for instance. I want to show something. I may be browsing another page entirely. Let me pick a page from what I have here. It's taking a while to load. French. All right, as you can see, I have this here at the same time. So clicking on this automatically captures the page for me. And I can now mark any of this and send it to a friend, for instance, and say, okay, look at this. This is what I was trying to show you or something. It's as easy as possible. Accessibility is just key because it is everywhere without you needing to search for what you want to do or do any stuff. It is on your page. You don't need to just click it, capture, send, and that's all. You are done. Literally, that's the easiest way and that's the best way it can work. So we've done that successfully, and where we are now currently is to now complete this offering, which is the part three, efficient and sustainable local DB with index DB using Dexy. Now, what do we want to use index DB for? We already said our index DB is basically going to be for storing the screenshots. We don't want to have the screenshot on local storage because the screenshots may be too large. For instance, if I go to Plasmo here and I take a screenshot of this page, this is a very large page. To you, it may seem simple, but trying to capture this using our implementation with the speed at which it captures it took a lot of optimizations. Let me use that word to make it work that way. It took a lot of engineering and optimization. So basically, in this case, annotating it by adding like rectangles and different things like ellipses to it, or giving different colors, or saying things like, "Oh, I want to have the ellipses in blue," and then I mark it as blue like this, right? That's an option. This is a very good option. We can have things like this, and then we can decide to save and export it. Currently, this is not functional because we've not done it. So there's no way we can know if it works or not. So what we can do now is we want to start with that. That's the first thing we want to do because before we can save to Plasmo, right, we want to be sure that we can um, before we can do anything to Plasma, before we can use this save feature, right? The save feature we see here. Before we can save this, we need to make sure that before you can use the extension, rather the sync engine for this, before we can implement the sync engine, what am I saying? And index DB, rather, we need to understand that we need this, right? And something is happening. My screen is not sharing. I knew something was missing from today's video. All right, so basically, this is what I was talking about. Back to it. So now we have this. Before I can implement the index DB, right? Before I can implement any of this here, I need to I need to believe that this must have saved, right? As a user, before I can think of that, even as a developer now. So say I want to save it to IndexDB. What do I want to save? It's the image that I've exported here. That's exactly what I want to do. So what I need to do here is go back to this place and say, okay, fine. I want to export this. I already have an export feature here that does that. But the truth of the matter is, where does it save to? Right. So currently what we have now is if you check this extension and I go to like inspect the extension, I go to the application where I see the storage and all of those things. So it's easy for me to check if that extension has anything saved. Currently in share storage, it doesn't have anything. In cookies, there's nothing because it's not a cookie. If you check the extension storage, it's check. If I check the extension storage, does it have anything here? Yes, it does have some things here. It has the settings, basically just the settings, and that was stored just locally for me to use. So it has the settings that is stored and just basic settings, right? But not the exact thing that was stored. So whenever I make any storage, whenever I make any screenshot and I decide to annotate it and store it, nothing happens. The last thing you see here is this, as you can see. So this is the URL that was stored, and the annotation, nothing exists in terms of storage. But the last capture I made is this, and it's actually correct, as you can see here. But then it doesn't do anything except for like in terms of like, can I reuse it? If I open it as a picture, can I use it somewhere? Where does it save the picture to? These are just the metadata for the capture I made. But where is the actual picture? Where does it save that to? Where does it store it? All of those things. We don't have that implemented, which is what we are trying to do. So let's jump into it today since we are trying to cover as much as possible. So what we need to do is in the export PNG that we have here, which we are literally using at this, when you click on export image, we want it to, currently we have no changes made except for the documentation we have. So that means we can work with new features. So I'm going to start with something and I'm going to go to the AI and say, okay, so what I want to implement is a save and export. Like I said, I already have the function implemented. I just want the AI to plug it into what I want to do and then make some cleanups, and that's it. Because currently you can see it works here. So what happens here is when you export the image, you create a temporary canvas for export, which literally works. And then after creating the temporary canvas, it does the width and the height creation, as the draw the background image literally, and then just serialize it just to be able to like store it somewhere. So this is where all of those things happen. So the serialize function is where you just stringify it. That's the annotation it used literally, and then that is it. So we can also use the load. The load here is just to like fetch the data back. But in this case, we need to use export CPNG actually. So which is also where you see for now we use the export method which includes background and annotations. And so when you export it, you have all of this. So the question now is where do we use the export image, right? Like I said, we already have this implemented. We just need AI to be able to use it. So it does that currently. So this is it. This is the question to ask now. So I have the export image function implemented. Where is it being used and what does it do? So this is just for the AI to be able to understand what I'm trying to ask before I ask the question. I could just go ahead and say, oh, okay, I have this implemented, just make it work to do this, but without enough context. But me asking it to go read, look it up, gives it enough context to use what it wants to do. The context it already has and the information it has to now make efficient decision on how it's going to implement it. That's exactly what I'm trying to do here. So by always prompting the AI to like get context of your code base actually works well for you. It's like the best thing you can do before you start prompting it to do to make changes. Right. Remember, I'm not using any high-end stuff. I'm just using free AI tools here. So I'm saving a lot of money. And then I'm still getting almost the same result I can get from a high-end paid version, like if I'm using Gemini Pro or like even Claude, any of the Claude models, except for the fact that fine, if I'm on the, like the $200 Pro version, I know that yes, I'll get more quality than this. But this is not bad for $0, literally free LLMs that I'm using. So if you want to understand how I use the free LLMs, also feel free to like drop a comment or reach out, and I'm going to tell you how it is, how it was done, and how you can use it as well. So said, let me check this. So the AI is going to check this. Say, oh, based on my analysis, I figured it out. Export is implemented here, right? It uses the export engine context. New implementation uses in the call. You're not using the. I can remove that. It says create a text canvas and calls this. Export image as said issue. So now works. So in this case, the next thing you can see here is where it is being used. Overlay, which is one. It says uses the annotation to send the data URL to the background script for storage. I is the editor after export, which is exactly what you did. So you notice that when I click this now, it's going to just close it, which is fine. So now the next thing is keys one leverages this to modular this and this. We don't want to concern ourselves with the annotation editor core. The function enables users to save the annotated image as PNG files, combining the original image with the annotations into a single exported image. Now the question is, how can I access the exported images? Now this is it. This is what I was trying to say. So it doesn't save the actual image. It only saves the metadata dimensions, which was what I showed you guys from the extension just now. So that's the problem. And that's the problem we are trying to solve. So current limitations, images from the browser are not being saved anywhere. Data is lost after export, which is fine. That means it already understands very good context what it's supposed to do. So it says the standalone editor tab, which is editor.txt. When you export from the editor, it creates an automatic download. The image is downloaded from this. So the thing is, let's try the editor. We still have that open here, right? So if I capture the full page, it doesn't work as I expected it to work before. But now you see that it works now. What I mean is like when we tried it the first time, you can see that you already saved it. Let me show you what I mean. It already saved the annotation. By clicking Control S, see what we have here. You can see it literally saved the annotation, and that just worked perfectly well. So this is the exact functionality we want it to imbibe. So currently, if you use the text, the blur, we have all of this. This is coming from the core. We use the core implementation here. The core implementation was working perfectly well. Just had a little bit of issues, then we decided not to use it. So, but we can see here the arrow works. Can we use the arrow? Yes, but you can see the problem. The problem was it was not working as expected. That means it was like giving a bit of issues. So it was not like preserving the data that you drew, and then there's no way for you to use it. And the undo functionality was working also. You can see here. So it wasn't functional properly, like it was messy, but it worked. So we had the ellipses as well. The colors for that also worked, but it doesn't register. The freehand to does this, and you can see how it works. It's kind of misbehaves. It doesn't do exactly what I did. So if I undo, you can see all the things I just drew. And then if I'll do it again, it comes back. So that means I have to undo for you to see it. So it wasn't consistent. So we had to remove it. Then for the text also, we had to make sure that if I do this, this is how we save. So there's a lot of issues and stuffs. So we had the proper like directional stuff and all. Then we had the blur. The blur was just to like blur the image and stuff. You can see it was doing that, but then just was supposed to do. So everything was just false. But if I click on the export PNG here, everything saves. And I can show you by using all of this. I will just say annotation tempera. I'll just call it the same name. And I download it. Once I download and I open it, you should see the same thing. You can see literally the same thing, right? Which means it works, including the Gaussian blur. But this is not what I want to use. We don't want the editor to use. We don't want all of this. I don't want the blur functionality. This was something we implemented before, but we removed it because we did not want it. So these are features we can give to user for other stuffs and probably to offer you like more premium features. We can give all of this. We can give you advanced tests, manipulations like left, center, right, able to centerize your text and do all of those things. But depends on the offerings of these. But we are going to give you a very general, like a very solid offering. First of all, if you decide to use this, that's your choice, right? It's what you want, then you can decide to. So that's what we are trying to do. As you can see here, this doesn't have that button. It doesn't have the button, the floating button. But if I come back here, it does have because that's the extension page itself. So that means that's what we're trying to implement. And as you can see, so what we need to do next is go fix that, right? They say the standalone editor does this. This is the only working export method, which is correct. So it already understands our web page. So that means the AI understands perfectly. So the problem is this, handles this. So what we need to do is how the editor handles the download is the same way we want this one to handle the download, which is literally the same thing, which is where we are going to go to. So what should happen but doesn't, the extension should either save the browser storage, but this risk hitting storage limit due to large image data, which is why I want us to use IndexedDB. Now you get it. The point is you don't want to save it to the user's device. If the user wanted to save it to his or her device, it should be like a decision the user wants to make, not we giving that as the only option. So that is why it is not currently being implemented. When I click something like this, it's not being implemented. It's not. So until I click save and export or I click download. So we should have another functionality called download after annotating it. So it doesn't need to get sent, right? But that's an option. So we don't want to do that yet. So two things is going to happen. What should happen but doesn't? Saved browser extension, risk this, which is correct. That's why we want to index DB. So I'll say current workaround, use the standalone editor instead of this, right click to save the image. But I'm saying I'm going to give it my own recommendation, which is what I want. So I'll say, okay, yes, you're correct. What I plan I'm going to tell it first thing is this: create an IndexedDB table to manage screenshots. That's the first thing. To manage all exports, to manage all exports. Then in bracket, including storage and recovery, storage and accessibility. Okay, let me just say to store and retrieve all exports, annotation exports. That's one. The second thing is when you do this, you want to now okay, I think that's basically what I want to do. I want to use the IndexedDB to store and retrieve all the annotations. So when I export any of those things, I want the IndexedDB to be created. So I want to create a schema for IndexedDB to take that export and save it there. And also, that's the first thing. Okay, I want you to also do something. That when I click the extension, I want to see a way to be able to access the pages. But that should be my choice. So we can always have that. So I'll create a page for that. Let's just tell it to do this. What I'm going to do next to fix that is I'll go to the tabs page here. So I'm going to create something in the tabs page. It's going to be a new TypeScript file. I'll call it images or annotations, stored annotations.ts or something. So stored annotations is going to be what I want to use. So stored annotations is where we have all of the annotations that I've saved, right? I can call it library. In fact, I think that makes sense. Library.tsx. So that way it's not just the editor, it is a library. You can see we are keeping the name short because we are creating something specific to a niche, and then we are not like creating something as difficult as probably building a WhatsApp clone or something forward. So I can be flexible in just deciding what I'm trying to do. So in this case, it said excellent plan using IndexedDB is a perfect solution for storing this. Here is a proper implementation, which like I always do, I'm going to create an implementation plan. So I'm going to write it here and say, okay, this is so what he wants to do is create a new service to manage IndexedDB operation, provide CRUD operations, which is perfect. CRUD should be like create, read, update, and delete, which is perfect. We don't want the update, but we want it to still create that. We know we will never use the update functionality. You create a new annotation every single time. You are free to delete as much as you want, which is why I have the library.tsx file. So the interface is this, the update background message handler is this, fix the current handler to actually save the data URL, integrate with the new IndexedDB service, return proper sources error responses, create gallery history this, display list of this, update this, add method of this, add gallery access point, pop-up menu, options page. Yeah, so this is it. So in the pop-up menu, he understands that you should add view my annotations button, which is exactly what I wanted to prompt it. But without prompting it, he's able to infer that we need this also. So add methods to interact with IndexedDB through the new service, maintain backward compatibility with the existing storage service, provide unified database for all storage operations. So this is what is going to happen. We have the stored annotations, right? Which is going to be our create a new service, implement a schema, which is perfect. And so we have options, like it says, display list of saved annotations. We have a gallery. So in this case, it's creating a gallery, which is, I think it's preferable to call it a gallery, not a library. I'll call it a gallery. I think I like the name gallery better. So I'm going to go back to the pages and rename this as gallery.tsx. So that is where it's going to be displayed. So the next thing is update the message handler, fix the current handler to save to here, integrate you need this DB service, display list of saved annotations, show thumbnails and metadata, provide options to view, download, delete annotations, add search, perfect. Download should be available. So add search filter functionality, update storage integrations, add method to interact with deep IndexedDB through service, maintain backward compatibility existing storage service. That's perfect. Provide unified interface for all storage operations. The pop-up should have view annotations button, full gallery interface, toolbar integration, quick access to recent annotation. So it's using the options page. There's an option page here, right? Remember, we have an options page. If you guys can remember, probably if you watch the new versions, the part one, part two of this series, you understand we talked about all of these pages and what they mean. So it's trying to use the option pages for it, which I will just allow. And then we have the toolbar integration, quick access to recent annotations, and Okay, that's perfect. And then we have the enhanced export service, export as zip archive, and all of those things. But we don't need all of those complexities. But it's fine. Let's just create it. So I'll just tell you to write the this implementation plan, index implementation, so that I and other LLMs can track the progress and know what has been completed and what has not been completed. Proceed. So this is what I'm going to say. So should I proceed with this? I'll just say yes. So it's going to create all of this. So far, if it's able to do all of this, that means we've checked out two things from our to-do list. Our to-do list here basically is this: efficient storage. If you can now implement the efficient storage, creating the sync engine is extremely easy because we are going to be using the same schema that we have in the extension and implement the same schema inside our sync engine. And interestingly, everything should be running in the same app, like in the same extension. We don't need a separate one because the extension is more like the core of what we are building. So the extension is where everything is being done. It's just like you having your what do you call it now? Your Google Drive. You have a Google Drive and you want to access it. You can access it, but you don't create stuff from your Google Drive. You create stuff that you want to have externally, then probably send it to your Google Drive or you upload it to your Google Drive. But that's the flow. So in this case, our Chrome store is the access point to our mobile um, cloud. Let me use that word too. But our cloud is going to be accessible via your mobile so that you just don't need your laptop every time to see your annotations. It might just be a quick idea you want to have. You can just mark it and send it. It's as simple as that. That's what we are trying to build. Now let's see if it's done. It says yes, create the plan, blah blah blah. Let's just click on this. Let's see what it does. So let's click 1634. So by 1639, everything should be perfectly complete. And once it is complete, we can proceed to the next phase. So let's see how it can happen as fast as possible. Sorry, I can't speed up this video. This is live. If not, I'll speed up all of this process so you can see everything done in literally 4 minutes. But let's see what you can do. Okay, so literally in a minute, I think the first thing has been done. I can see the index DB is being created after creating the plan. This is how it is to create the schema. It's as easy as this. You create your stored annotation schema with the name. There's a search query. It's basically like a DB. If you're familiar with how to create DB schemas, even if you're not familiar, AI can do that for you now. Just read through it to understand. It's that simple. And remember, I said it that AI is so good at implementing index DBs or using Dexy. So big mistake I made is I should have told you to use Dexy. I didn't specify that. Jeez. Oh, this is going to be a problem. I should have specified use the IndexedDB for this. Currently, it's not going to use IndexedDB because I didn't specify it, and I'm sure it's not going to. And IndexedDB is just going to give it a lot of flexibility. She's doing this manually from what I can see. That is a problem. Okay. I'm just going to allow it to do its thing. Then I'll come back to tell it to switch to IndexedDB. IndexedDB is like flexible enough, like extremely flexible to use. It should be able to pick that itself because it's in my package. I've installed it already. It just didn't check. I'm sure it should that check. It will have seen it. Then it could have used it. Well, I'll just allow you to do its thing. Get, probably should have specified. I didn't specify. Okay. All right, so 2 minutes gone. So let's see if we can successfully create this or complete this using IndexC. Currently is using IndexDB, just the raw implementation. And we need to make sure it uses the DexC eventually, which is what I would have preferred. Yeah, this is expected. Not all the data is being written to it. Okay, 3 minutes is gone. Let's see if we can do this in the next 2 minutes. Before I tell you to change the implementation it has done and use Dexy, I'm definitely sticking with Dexy. It's so easy to work with Dexy than implementing this manually. Okay, 4 minutes gone. Let's see if we can do this in just 1 minute. Just 1 minute left. If I'm not mistaken, it's already creating the gallery. So that means it has fleshed out. Okay, still on phase two. It's not gotten to phase three yet. So yeah, it can't do this in 5 minutes. But well, we can still do it in 10 minutes. So if we can fix this in 10 minutes, we know that we are done with that. We can move to the sync engine. The sync engine can be done in literally the same time frame. Let's say 30 minutes max, because we need to provision some of the things. I need to create some of those things that are needed and use it to complete the implementation, which just going to make sense. All right, so I believe this is done. So this should be phase three. I'm not entirely sure. I think so. Yeah. So it's smart enough to know that I created a gallery component, a gallery file that can be used for adding the annotation gallery. So it's just going to import the annotation gallery and that's it. It's done. So it's going to go to the next thing. Like I said, this is it. So it's done it perfectly well. And it's going to proceed to the next implementation, which is, let's see, the phase. The next phase is okay, I can't find it again. Yeah, let's just let it do its thing. It's probably going to spend under 3 minutes to complete it, or less. I might be wrong. Okay, so it's creating a service, a message handler for deleting an annotation. So let's say I create one and I'm deleting. Now, like I said, and I will keep saying it, this is just for the sake of me showing you guys how it can be done. If I was to implement this and getting ready to send it to the Chrome extension, to the Chrome store, I probably would have been done in 2 days. Like I took enough time. Probably take me 2 days. Like now it's extremely easy to create stuff like this. Initially it would have taken like 2 weeks to create this using writing everything myself, like still using a bit of stuff to make it work. But now it's just going to take us extremely easy time, 2 days max. If even if it takes I encounter bugs, which yes, normal. But now it can be done in 2 days if I was using AI to do this. So that's just that. I know that is you be like, why do I need to do this? I can try to do this AI. But yes, there are challenges you face that AI can help you out of. I don't know if you've coded to that point or if you've written code to that point. If you've not, yes, you are okay. But if you have done that to that point, then you should know that okay, yeah, AI is not the savior when it comes to coding most times. It can help you a lot of things. Like I said, by the pro tier of Claude, you still know that there are bottlenecks you can face. If you're doing a one time, just I write this, it does this, it fixes it for me. Yeah, that's cool. But try writing an enterprise application and depending on just Claude alone, then you know that you're going to fail badly without knowledge on how this works. I can't stress that enough. I know I've encountered that. I know I code a lot. I write complex stuff every single day. So I understand the complexity of what I'm talking about here, and it can be crazy. So currently we're done with this. So it probably took like okay, took almost 10 minutes, like minutes. Next thing to use Dexy. So I'll say I forgot to mention that you should use Dexy for the index DB implementation. Can you update the code to use Dexy for managing all index DB operations functionalities? So I'm going to ask the question. Of course, AI can do it. Just to make it feel like you're communicating with a human being and not a robot in this case, or just a computer that garbages in and garbages out. Yes, technically that's the same thing. So we using this now basically means I'm asking it, can you do this for me? And it's going to say, okay, yes, I can, but I need to check this, I need to take this, I need to have this. That's basically what is going to happen. Okay, so let's see how long this was going to take. So this is 4:45. Can we do this in 15 minutes? Like this is the reality of coding with AI, right? It's not something that you do in 30 minutes. I know you would have seen that, oh, write an extension in 1 hour. It's a lie. It doesn't work like that. Yes, you can literally not write it in 1 hour. Except you're just writing something that just clicks, does one thing, and that's it. You don't tell me you don't face this kind of bugs. I've been writing this every day for 2 hours for 5 days. This is the 60th day. This is where we are. I know it's cool, right? We've encountered challenges, building from scratch, showing you guys how to install an actual library you can use for good styling and all of those things. But not in a 1 hour. It doesn't work that way. Of course, in a day, 24 hours, like I said, if I was not doing it without making this video, probably take max 40 hours and I'm done. But to prepare a very production ready extension, yes, that's valid. So that's the idea. I think I hope that makes sense. So it says here using Dexy will be a great improvement over this, simpler, this, better around the TypeScript support, cross-browser compatibility, advanced features, smaller bundle size. Exactly. So it's a migration plan for this. So I'm going to give it, like I said, I'm going to create another one. I know there's no need for this migration plan, but then I just want to have it. So migrate index DP to use Dexy.md. So me writing this now, just say yes. I have installed Dexy.js already. Write your implementation plan in migrate and write your implementation plan here, and so that I and other LLMs can track your progress to know what has been completed and what has not been completed. Proceed. So it's the same thing, the same prompt, similar prompt. You just need to know how to fine tune it over time for different situations. But then there should be like a generic based prompt that you give. Over time, I've seen this work for me. I'll tell you to create a plan or write it in a place so that you can always make reference. Whether it goes out of context or not, it knows that this is what we are working with. It's a powerful way to get the best out of your AI. Like I do, I'm using free AI, like I've told you guys. This is the third stuff I'm building in 3 weeks, like full fledged, not just build it in 1 hour and discard it. I literally built a mobile wallet, like a Web3 mobile wallet just last week, built a game 2 weeks ago using the same approach, right? And still explaining at the same time how it works. So it's a very good approach. It's a very good way to learn and to also use this implementation. So yeah. So I'm just going to say perfect. I see it's already installed. The migration is ready. So I'm just going to click on this and tell it to resume this. So there was something I was building years ago. Let me tell you guys a little story. I really wish I knew about Dixie then. I was working on a raw application that wasn't using React. It wasn't just HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Then like the raw native HTML, CSS, JavaScript where you work with Ajax. And so I had to write everything, all the modules, all the classes, even the IndexedDB aspect. It was a pain, and it was working fine for me. But then I realized that this was going to take a lot of time. But I still implemented the IndexedDB part. It worked. But eventually, I had to go server side because it was taking a lot of time and there were a lot of bugs. So it didn't help me move as fast as I wanted. It worked for some time, but I didn't move as fast as I expected to move because I had to be implementing the IndexedDB manually, like creating the stuff myself, the classes. And aside from creating the classes, I had to like provision everything myself. Now I know this is like a just a personal story. But then why I'm saying this is that as much as possible, always look for what makes your life easy when you code. If I had found IndexedDB then, I would have saved almost 2 months, like literally almost 2 months for when I was trying to implement this. And that was just when I was learning though, not now. So now I've learned my lessons since then that whenever you build something, look for something that might help you. Something is out there that might help. There's a lot of things I wished I saw when I started building that would have enabled me build very good products from start to finish at that point faster, but they were not available because I didn't like use it or search for the libraries that I could use. So this that is just like a story like that may help anybody that is listening at this time. I'm sure it's going to apply to you and then it might be very, very useful. So that's just it. So Dexy, if you're interested, is something that you can use to build offline kind of offline applications. It works perfectly well. You can use it to build fast, scale big, like literally you can use it to do any single thing you can think of. It seems simple, but it makes sense. So IndexedDB made simple. Literally, that is it. I can vouch for it because I've used it. It works, and you can add Cloud Sync for auth, storage, and real-time update, so that whenever you do stuff, it just syncs with your IndexedDB. It works more like using the way you have use effect in React, like it just picks whenever something dependency changes. Yeah, Dixie has something similar to that. And when it comes to saving stuff to IndexedDB, I can promise you that it works. You cannot literally write a desktop native application or maybe a desktop Electron application without considering using Dixie for your local storage. How do you want to go about it? It doesn't work. I can promise you that it doesn't work. Like for instance, this is how you create your database, Dixie. A literal database. IndexedDB is just a database that you create on your desktop, right? That is native but allows you to store multiple I like to store large sizes of stuff. So using that, I know I'm digressing to like IndexDB, but I'm telling you about libraries that will help your life if you are trying to do stuff like this. That's helped me in many ways. So this is just like a way to also pass that knowledge I've gotten across. So this is one way to create your database. Just specify the name of the database. That's all. Then you can create a version for your database. So that means you can literally create different versions of your databases. If you have more update or you want to you want to, what's the word? You want to um, migrate, like you want to do a forward update or a backward update. There's a word I'm looking for, but then you get the idea. So you can see version one, you can create multiple versions for updates to implement that stuff, and then stores. So you can create stores here. Stores are just things like this. You see how I'm creating the friends here. Friends is just like a table I'm creating. In this case, friends, I'm creating friends to have like an ID that increment on its own. Imagine having that free. Just add the plus plus to it, and you have name and age. IndexDB is very easy to use. Like it's extremely easy. I don't know who wrote this library, but they deserve to be awarded for stuff. Like they just it made more sense. And I know it's open source and it's made it's open source, I'm sure, yeah. But still, it's just beautiful. It's local first. It syncs with cloud storage easily. You can use it to implement authentication, built-in authentication, login, optimized for hybrid application. What I'm trying to say is you can query stuff like if you are using React or something like a Prisma DB or all these ORMs. It gives you ORM functionalities for IndexDB, which you've written native index before. I appreciate this a lot. I have it's not easy. Let's not even talk about it. So you want to find friends from something you created like this, like your friends plus name and age. How can you do that? You just db.friends because you created a friend as your table, right? db.friend where age is above 75. Can you imagine how easy this is to write? And then it gives you a list of all the friends that are above 75. Or you can make a new one by just calling db.friends.add. Add is just a way to, it's an API that exists by Dixie to allow you add stuff. And you can see that from here, you can add the name, age, street, and picture to it. There's something called live query. Live query is even more interesting to use. Live query is something that becomes observable. Observability means that it listens to when there's changes or there are changes. In this case, when you query for this, you need to use like a use effect to pick the changes when something changes, right? But when you use live query, you can see it's using something like a hook, like a use effect, like I just explained. So it will query the DB using the promise-based API, and the end result will magically become observable. So it means the same query I had the other time, but whenever I have a new stuff added, literally update it. It's this list. Depending on whatever it is you are building. You are building a native app, you are building a web app, you are building an extension. Wherever you are using it, it just works and it works fine. And you can sync it to the cloud also. You can what you need to do is just create a Dexy cloud and then you can pass that on and then install Dexy to the Dexy cloud also. Okay, so all you need is just use this Dexy calculate, then whitelist the URL you want to use, then install the library, then install the cloud add-on. So using the cloud add-on means that immediately you create your data from here, it automatically syncs it with your Dexy cloud. It's that simple. Like the simplicity of Dexy is just out of how you can think of how stuff work. This was done many years ago. This is the new website. The previous website was like extremely old, so I knew it was done years ago. That's why I started this story there. I didn't know initially, but now this is just a way to like share the knowledge with you also. So this is something that you can do if you're interested in maybe local first applications. This is something you want to implement. Like the extension we are working on now, because we are working with an extension like a Chrome extension, right? We know we need let me restart this. We need to store data. Like I said, I like building real-time applications. One of the ways I do it every time I say real-time applications, one of the ways I do it is using Dexy. It works for me every single time. I can't just deny that. So let's go to annotation library to fix this issue. So that's the story I wanted to share with you guys. I hope you guys learned something from it. Yeah. So I don't want global here in source component. What does it mean by source component? There's no file called source component. So I'm going to close this and repackage it to see. So PMPM dev means it will repackage our engine. So if you're interested in what Plasmo is, you can see Plasmo is what does the work for us. Plasmo is a browser extension framework. If you're interested in it, I spoke about it in the part one of the series where we did the whole setup from scratch without using AI now, you can go watch that video. So it should be linked somewhere here, and you can see how that works. But I can assure you it works perfectly well. It works fine. So this is Dexy. If you're interested, Dexy is, it just makes sense. It makes sense. It's truly offline first. You don't have to disturb yourself with backend. It's one unified layer across all platforms. So one way you can use the cloud, if I have not explained, is that you can actually have an application. You can have your normal backend stuff, and then when you write your um, local first application, you just sync it to Dexy automatically. And then using Dexy, once your data is written locally, it will sync. You can use it to sync to your actual DB elsewhere. So it just makes sense. So that's exactly what we are talking about. So doing this, okay, so we have everything working. Let's go here and try it again. So if you try this now, I'm going to open this, and I'm also going to open the extension here, which is this one. So opening the extension, you can see there are two things: my annotations, which opens the gallery. The gallery, of course, does not have any annotations, so it keeps loading. It should have failed by now, I think, because it keeps loading annotations. It doesn't really do anything. So we've done this, and on this, I've seen as before, nothing has changed. I have my rectangle, I can draw this still as before. Well, I can move, I can scroll. I think one of the things that doesn't work is I can't stretch that one, but you get the idea. It works, and undo works too, so we're fine for now. Still have improvements, but now it works. So one thing is, if I click on Introduction to Plasma, remember, if I click on this and I click on my annotations, it says try again. Filter on this, the part contains argument path, which is understandable. Something is wrong. So far, so good. We've done this in less than 1 hour. So we created everything we need to use, and we've made it work in less than an hour. Okay. We need to check this. Where this and the error is coming from the gallery. Yeah. 17 hours. That means we spent. I'm going to remove this. We don't need the global dot stuff problems. I'm going to retry not work. Okay. So that means we go to annotation gallery, and we need to see the error where it's come from. Database initialization field. There's a try again button somewhere here. I think I saw it just now. Then I passed it. Yeah, this is it. So this is the try again button. So this is where it will load the annotation. It doesn't do anything. It's still the same error. So we can see error coming from here. Where are we using set error? We are setting error when we load the annotation, right? When we set send to background, get annotations for us, something happens. So we are removing this. So get sent to background means send that information to the background. Use get annotation as the name of the message you want to send. So whenever the background gets the annotation, it's going to pick it from the messaging like this. So it's going to pick that, and then no, that shouldn't be the one I look for. So let me look for the one that I created ourselves. Okay, this get the annotation itself, right? And pass it to messages, get annotations, then send it to whoever is registered to listen to it, which is exactly what we want to do. So to make that, to show you guys what that looks like, background fields, there's an error. So yeah, literally somewhere. So what's the error here? It says not sent to parameter of this. File size is missing from the type. So what we need to do is add all parameters that are missing. So we add the file size to it. Yeah, so that's okay. So far so good. I think that's the only error, but that's not the reason why it is failing. One of the reasons it's failing is because it says, oh, now it works. No, it doesn't work. That was a different page. So if I go here, this is the page you wanted to be captured. So if I go to my annotations, you can literally see this. Try again. Oh yeah, I forgot we did that. We removed the CSS file. Oh wow. Okay, so I'm going to go back here and add the CSS file to it. Apparently that was needed. So um I click on this again, my annotations, I get the button, I get the style, everything is there. I go to annotation gallery. We're trying to resolve the error now. So I go here and the first thing I see is this error, data initialization field. Let's look for that, database initialization field. So this is the error, right? It gives us initialization field and the error. So that means the error is coming from here. So apparently this is wrong because we see dot open. So there's no dot open here. It doesn't work. And there's dot version. And why is it creating it like this? You are supposed to be smarter with text. What's happening here? All right, so this is the schema for DexC. So you can see we can have indexes too, right? So all these are just basic. They are basic stuff that we can apply. So all of that just like how it should work. I have a very complex one that I created one time for when I was trying something. I don't want to show that here because I don't think it's necessary for this, but yeah, it's also important here too. But basically, let's just figure out why this is not giving us what we want. So going to the DexC storage, wait, it's the same thing now. So why is it keeping the IndexedDB storage? I need to understand what this is. Okay, you know what? We need to resolve this. First thing, void of version. Let me go to the documentation again. The first thing we need is setting up your database. You need the new this. This is just plain wrong. What did you do? So creating the DB is a new DB, my name, then as this. Why? This is just wrong. So this is the same thing though. Like this file and this file are the same. But you can see the difference here. It's almost the same number of files, 590, but you see the difference in the querying. The difference here is that you have, for the IndexedDB storage, you have to use dot for each, you have to use a promise, you have to use all of the annotation count, which is still literally the same thing. Get annotations is a function we created here. Now, this can get messy real quick. The advantage of this is using DexC. Let's do for get all annotations. You can see literally the same thing. Get all annotations does look similar here, but we are using stuff like collection or order by this, which is different from this. The point is that if you're trying to write this may look like, oh yeah, it works, but for something complex, you can easily make mistake because one, there is no type safety. Dex uses type safety. That's why I keep seeing all of these errors. So that alone is a plus, as you can see here. It gives you all of those things. And also you can get that also here, but then it requires you to write a lot more stuff. Right? Natively it works, but Dex gives you better stuff to use with. At least I've tested both, so I can tell you that yes, it may look like it at the beginning, but then it gets really crazy as you proceed. And you have something called transaction. Transaction is what allows you to create really atomic structures. Imagine if you have to implement that yourself. Yeah, that can be a pain. So I'm going to just tell you that you did nonsense. You didn't do it well. So let me say, well, okay, I think you mentioned it. So let me check. It said this migrated this. Yes, what was accomplished. Save annotation using text for saving notations. Delete annotations in text. 70% code reduction. This does this as manual custom management. Yeah, that's another thing. You have to manage custom manually, but with this you don't need to. It already handles that for you. Clean APIs. So I'm just going to give this and say D contains. So I'm just going to suggest fixes for the errors. So first thing is going to do is look through it because it's not properly. This is a fact that frustrating. Then we need to also have that, but then implement. That doesn't mean it causes all the stuff to stop working because you can't, which is understandable. It doesn't really work implementation to be sure. Go to, for instance, say the um all right, so this is broken. The new site variable. This is just broken. It was easy to find stuff in the previous one. Now this just fails. I've been clicking buttons. Wow. Understanding the basics. So this is how it works. You create a version dot stores. In our use case here, he created this. It says dot stores, which is version 2, literally. Dot stores, the same thing, annotation, this, and then he created a class and then just continued from there. Then with the db dot open. Considering this with this, you can see the same thing is there. But why does it fail and the other one doesn't? Yeah. So it says I've initialized this content addition ID, this. Now this might be because now on this, which we shouldn't. All right, so let's just wait a bit. This is just one file, so it shouldn't take as long as much to get this done. Let's see. You are skipping all the ones that are causing issues. What is your okay? I think as Dixie and oh, okay, yeah. So the first thing he did is understand that yeah, you use like this Dixie and that, so you get all the full methods properly implemented. That's fine. So yeah, so that is it. Dixie also has a type, which is what you should have implemented. First of all, it didn't do that. That becomes a problem. Now for the versioning I was talking about, it says so this is how you create different versions. For let's say you create version one to have ID, name, and age, and then you want to add first name and last name. This is how you just do it. So you just do this. Then when you want to migrate data, you just say things like when migrating this data, you keep the old version alongside this one. So you use the former version where you have the store, you create a new version like this and upgrade this by querying all the data, collecting it, modifying it this way, and that's it. Like versioning in Dixie just is beautiful to use, honestly. So, but in the new versioning system, you don't even need to store the old one. Just have the new one, then only specify what should be um, used for the new one. Literally. So in this case, it says only need to specify pets as friends. Should use the same for version 2, and that's that. So deleting table is also as easy. You store this, you add store this. So pets will pass this. So there's no pet here. You pass this, you pass this, you pass this, then it will be automatically deleted. So changes in 3.0, these are changes. So there's no point reading the change logs, but let's see if everything is clear. I think we have fewer errors now. We have just two errors, which is the collection, the sort by is maybe following from the type. Uh, Okay, I think that's fixed. So it's already successfully fixed it. I think we are good to go. It has the order by, then the fix. So it should be just one more. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. We should be collecting it as yeah. So these are the functions now. We have that. So beautiful thing is that it's running the TypeScript link to discover if and it's to see if they're skeptical that I might not be able to solve this one. Just get that resolved myself. Shouldn't be much of a problem. But yeah, so far we have this, and this is just Dexy at a glance. It's quite cool. Something I would just require to check. I've always more like preach it every single time because it's a very cool library in your life when you need it, especially. So yeah, it's one of those things. Um, it's mainly following from type, collection, this and string and this. So it's properly typed. Like that's one of the advantages you get. So imagine if I was working with this and I encounter an error. Imagine how long it's going to take me to find it entirely because I cursors myself. So like I said, this is for simple use cases, this is good. You can other stuff. Okay, so we have 40 something minutes more to complete today's implementation. Let's see if everything is solved. Yeah, so far so good. I think everything has been resolved. We're finally good to go. What we needed to do was to annotation, to collection, then sort after that. So currently there are no more issues. Two things I noticed is it added this, which is fine. Then we also needed to, because we're using version 2 initially, but I don't think that is needed. Let's stick to version 1, which reasonably it did now. That makes a lot more sense. So yeah, we're good. Let's go test it out. Let's go to extension itself, refresh it, go back. One thing I want to point out is currently it says 86.6. When we package this to store to the extension, it might not be more than 4 megabytes, or even less. I've written at the extension that was usually 360 something megabyte before. And the moment I just changed to the build version, it just dropped to 4 megabytes. It literally dropped to 4. I think it was 5. Yeah, it was 5. And then after I added some more stuff, it just became 6. You can check it also. I think I've spoken about it. Go check Wallet Pro. When I was building it, it was extremely large because there's a lot of things, but that was the dev version, so understandable. So let's check the annotation to see if it works now. Yeah, very cool. So this is our annotation page. You can see we have 1.5 megabytes used already. I don't know what is inside to cause this much size. But then we can also detect this space. Now you cannot store 1.5 megabytes in any of the other storage mechanisms, whether using local storage or session storage, or it doesn't even work that way, right? You can't. But now using IndexDB, you can do all of those things, literally do all of those things, and it works. And you can see that it's using proper Radix UI design, buttons and stuff. So we use this as our theme color, as our accent color, and it works perfectly well. So now let's try annotating this and saving it. I'll create a rectangle with this, and I'll mark product offerings as where I want to mark the pink color, and I'm going to undo that. I don't want that. I'm going to click on this. I want to, what am I doing here? All right, so we're going to do this, right? We have this here. So what I'm going to do is free and text. I'm just going to save it like this. Now, once I save this, it means it should have saved it here for me. I should be able to see the extension here, but I feel like it's broken because it doesn't reload. So something has gone wrong. Yeah, so that means something is wrong here. Let's see if we can get the error from here. I'll go to our source. It says, yeah. The range time invalid time value, as you can see, annotation saved successfully with this is the name of the annotation, so it's successful. We know that completely now. It says invalid time value, so the problem is coming from the time handling here, and it's coming from annotation gallery. So that means we've already figured out where it's coming from. What do we need to go and change this? Let's go to annotation gallery and resolve the issue. The problem is with the time display. We already know that it's saying this, so instead of me trying to figure it out, I'm just going to say I know it's on line 224, if I'm not mistaken. Line 224, there's an array here somewhere that is causing the problem, and the array is from here, I think, from here. And so let's see if there's anywhere we have the time. I think it's around here because you say the range invalid time value range error 274 format date. Yeah, it's actually correct. Format date is where the error is coming from. But I think this is not the only format date we have. Let's see. All right, no problem. I'm just going to pass this to it and say I get this error. So I'm going to pass this. This is already done. I'm not using that task again. So I get this error when I click the so I'm passing this error. So I want you to check it out. Tell me what is wrong with it. But so far so good, you can see that everything works well. And then this is just the error issue. So if you can fix the error here, that means the time we pass to format date is wrong. So that means format date we should pass in an appropriate data, and the data we passed into it is wrong. So that means the data we stored is wrong. So we find a way to fix it. So that is it. So it's actually one of these places. So if I comment this out, and no, I won't comment it out because AI is still reading it. So I'll leave it. But if I comment it out, this should work fine, and we can test it. Allow you do is then figure out where they're from, do all the checks and the checks and the checks. But it's going to see the issue faster than I can. That's why I'm allowing it to check it. So it says now I can see the issue. Looking at this, I define as date object. But however, I think I'm using numbers here. Okay, so let's see. Does this work? 100% it should work. So it's going to tell me what to do, as it is already telling me. It says step one, do this, reconstruct this. So it wants to create like a better one. Implement this. If it's already this, do this. Format dates, blah blah blah. Yeah, proceed. This is I've done it before. Like half of the most times it doesn't give you the full code, except it's something you read and you're sure of. This time around, I'm not reading it, so I don't know. All right, so let's wait for, I say, another 2 minutes. You just need to write to this file. If you can successfully edit it, then we are good to go. All right, so trying to edit did not work. First failure detected. AI. Jeez. Okay, let's see what is happening. So successfully rewrote the entire thing. What did you add? I'm trying to see what you added. First of all, let me see what you added. I don't trust whatever it is you are writing. Oh, normalize annotation. Okay, okay. Just an helper function. An helper, yes, an helper function, helper inline function. So as long as you don't remove anything, I'm fine. Like everything is working. So all right, let's check it again. Does it work? Yes, it does. So we can see that it works. So checking our annotation, we can see we have the annotation here, which makes a lot more sense. And the beauty of it is that we can see that our annotation works this way, right? We see the annotation, it uses is a lot. The size is 1.7 megabytes, so that's a lot of data. So 1.7 megabytes you don't want to store locally, it's probably even going to give you issues. So if I click on it, this is what it tells me. Introduction to Plasmo, blah blah blah. That's the title of the site. So you can see it gets the title of the site. So I can know where the site, I can know the title of the site I picked, right? Just give me like a refresher for what I've done. And I have the size of the file, of the annotated file. I have like the source. But the point is, can I see it? I want to be able to see the file itself, right? You can see the dialogue is actually beautiful to see, and it's well done, it's well made, right? So it's just a one shot stop. And we still have about 30 minutes to go. So we successfully done this that we plan to do today. We successfully completed. Let's go to our to do for today. Successfully completed this. I'm going to copy this, paste here. So successfully completed these two. Sync engine is the next thing. So what have we completed? We completed 1, 2, 3. The sync engine should be a problem. Let's start packaging the extension for this dot. Nope. We're going to do that. This is part 6. So we should be done with 4, 5, and 6 today. Interestingly, we are not done with 5. So we can go to, okay, we can go to 6 without implementing 5. Why? Because the sync engine is just us creating something that can work. Currently, we have Dexy, and that should be easy to work with the sync engine because we need literally the same schema. So so we have this, we can delete it and we can download it, and that works. That makes sense. So if I go back to this, let's say I go back to another page. Let me just pick another site. I don't know. Let's pick a site here that I already have. I don't want to use Radix. Radix failed for me when I tried it. So let's try the Dexy page. Changes in Dexy 3.0. I want to make it like, oh, this is a make it out to something. So this, I'm going to mark this right top. I'm going to mark it with the cyan color, understanding the basics, right? And then I'll mark like a few other places too, so we can see. Let's say modify schema with white, like this, yeah. And then I use an arrow to point to it. Let's see the green arrow, and I do like this, and I increase the width of the arrow to like 10, and I remove this, and I point it again, so it's clearer. Or let me say I can just undo this, undo this, undo this, undo this, and then I use the 10, and then I mark it like this, so automatically it stays. Or I undo this, mark it again. So now we see undo works, redo works, all of these things. And then I save and export it. The moment it is saved, I can go and check it from here, my annotations, and automatically you see that I have it here, right? So you see that it's 3.1 MB, is bigger than the first one. That is a reason why we are using IndexDB to undo this. It gets large as we go on. Now, I don't know why this is showing me 31.4 megabytes. That is a lot for just 2 files. It feels like it's storing too many data, but I don't think it should even be up to that. This should be like 5 megabytes, which is understandable. But the thing is, we are going to provide a way to store this so that you can use it or for yourself. So one more thing I want to do is I should be able to see this data, right? I want to see if it really has the annotation or it's just storing the text for me or the image for me. No, I want to see if it has the annotation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the gallery, the annotation gallery, which is this. I'm going to go here. You can see that it's showing it as a grid, which is fine. And then it's showing me the dates and all of those things, which is still okay. One more thing is what am I looking for? Yeah, the image is showing like this. The height is 150. I wanted to show the better way. Let's say the height is 450. Does it have the annotation? Yes, it does. This is the first annotation. It contains it. The second one contains it. So it's perfectly okay. It shows the annotation properly. And when I click on it, right, I want it to also show me the annotation when I click on it, like the 100%, the height 100% when I click on it. So this way is just me cutting it to say, okay, show me 150. I can make it to 280, right? 280 should be like a very good number that it shows. And you can see that it still works. And you can see it's reducing as I'm working on it with even animations and stuff. So this is cool, right? You can see the animation was there. So one thing I want to do is when I click on this dialogue, right, it has some styling, if I'm not mistaken. Why does it have white? I have no idea why that is, but let's just see. Is in the dialogue, right? Dialogue, the root, are these themes, which is correct. Let me see if I see white anywhere here or FFF. Nah. So where is it saying that? That is saying that from. Okay, so yeah, the dialogue is here. It shows 80%. It shows the full image. So it's supposed to show the full image. Yeah, something is missing. So it's not showing the full image when I click on it. I know that was supposed to happen. It's supposed to happen here. So for some reason that is not happening. But aside from that, it's supposed to show the full image. Then give us some. Hmm. Okay, something is wrong here. So when I click on any of them, selected annotation is when I select, yeah, when I click on any of the card, we should select the annotation like this. And so why is it not showing the data URL? This works. Why doesn't that one work? Like this is annoying. These are little things that you just encounter sometimes. Be like, what did I do wrong? What did I do different? This is literally the same code base, but yeah, it happens. Okay, I'll just copy this and replace it with this, even though I know it's the same code base, but yeah, I'm just going to paste it underneath it so you can see the difference. Um, oh, I can't have an annotation here. It's going to be selected annotation to this. So if I click on this, what do I get? Yeah, now I get the text. So why is the first one not working? What is the difference? This is cover, this is contain, this is center, no repeats, of course. Radius is this, that's the difference. Ready? Cover and contain. Wow. Okay. Uh, no, this is super strange. All right, so this is how the stuff is, and so far so good. We can see we have the data, right? Even if you click on it. So what is being shown here? So what is being shown here is we do not have. We can see the separator here. So that means this doesn't work truly, but this one works. You can see this works, right? That's the second one we copied. The first one we copied didn't work, so we need to find out why it doesn't work. So if I remove the background repeat, which is like the only difference that I can see, strange enough, it still doesn't work. which is supposed to work. All right, let's see what is the difference. There's no difference. Why is this not working? Oh, we said the max height, not the actual height. Should be height is 100%, and then the max height should be different. Now it should work. Still not working. Why are you not working in this thing? All right, let's see what to do next. Since this is not working, we need to remove the max height from it and then try something else. Okay, this is contain. All right, this is getting. Why is it not working actually? Oh my god. This last one. All right, this is it. You can't use the height of 100%. I just assume that is the reason. You know what? There's no point in this. We know we are not using this. Yes, we know we need to. So I'm just going to set the height to like 400 pixels too. Now it should work. Sure. Yeah. Now, well, we want to do it in a way that it actually picks the content up. It uses height should be auto. The full why the 100% doesn't work still doesn't work. Jeez. I have 30 minutes to finish this. What is happening right now? Well, we actually figured it out, so that shouldn't be a problem. So this is contained because we wanted to display that. We know the height of auto will not work. So max height also like messy. So we can actually use like a flex to implement this. So the flex stretches, it takes the height of the container and all of those things, all of those things, all of those things. So if you have like a display block, for instance, now, I don't want to use a display flex, but it works. Now it's totally even. But I think yeah, it does that, yeah. And you know what? There's no need for this. But you guys can see that's the same title, that's the same URL, the source, which I can click, the dimension, I can see the size, the date it was created, all of those things are already available. So that makes a lot more sense. So what I can do next is now that I have all of this, right, and like fully implemented, two things I even have an issue with right now is why is the dialog white in color? Like why is it not using the style of every other thing? Every other thing here uses the radix color except for the dialog. For some crazy reason, the dialog refused to do what it's supposed to do, which is just awful. All right, so that's fine. I'm not going to dwell much on that. The content, the style, the max height is this. So I'm going to do this 100%. Oh, no. Okay, so let's see. Okay, I'm really disliking the white color that I can see here. It's so annoying, super annoying right now. No, no, what is happening here? Okay, so let's go back to this. Oh, yeah, it's gone. So let's check again. My annotations. We check this. It's the same thing. Radix refused to work. I can't beat this. Okay, so let's see. So I'm going to use this as flex, like we said. I'm going to use as flex. We know the display. I'm going to remove the display. Then every other thing should work. So I think one thing I can do is use the flex flex one to just allow it grow, but still not growing. Okay, this is what we this is the best we are able to do at this point. I really hate this right now, but then this is what we have. So as you guys can see, so we successfully have that. So from capturing a page to annotating the page to be able to see the page, right? Even though it is white, I can't tell you why this is white right now, but I know that I can still like. Okay, so let's say the content is okay. So the color affects it. So you know what? I'm just going to use the radix um, accent color, accent 2 something. I think that should work. Okay, it doesn't work. There's no accent 2. How do I pick the accent color again? I totally forgot this. All right, you guys just need to bear with me for a bit. I'm trying to like use the accent color from Radix, which doesn't work as I expect it to. Yeah, Clubhouse. Let's see. Same, but then you cannot be a problem. Um, Dialog the roots. We have this. I'll fix this. I know this is quite almost correct. If I'm not mistaken, it's quite correct in my opinion. But it's accent to like this. I don't know. Yeah, it's correct. It's accent to, so that works. Let's see. 10. Okay, it doesn't work. But at least I can see this happening here. So yeah, that's fine. Um, okay, so yeah, time to proceed with this. We have all the grid. We have the color as gray. Um, okay, so this is our annotation. So it is stored now. The next thing is how do we sync it? How do we transfer it to an actual sync? So this is what I want to do. So one thing I'm going to do is first of all, I'm going to like add all of these changes, right? All the new changes we've done. Currently, we have the undo redo functionality, which I don't think I've committed yet. I haven't. So I'm going to do this. The undo redo functionality is the last thing we implemented. That was yesterday in the part 5 of the series. Always just feel free to check that out also. I'm sure you learn a lot. And then the canvas overlay. That's the last thing we did. We didn't push the redo functionality. I was supposed to push that. So we don't conflict all of this. All right, I'm just going to do this manually since I can do that. Uh, git push origin undo redo functionality. I think I pushed this. I don't know if I've already I pushed that, but I just didn't like create a pull request for it. I think I'm not sure. Yeah, I did push that. So this is the branch name. This is the commit that was yesterday by the same time, and this is what we had. We had this. Okay, I didn't get that, so I'll just add this. So just the basic function that we added, which is just the history annotation engine and stuff. All right, so I'm going to merge the requests since I already know what the PR is all about. And all right, so we have that. This is just me creating my commit file. I like it being descriptive, just personal preference. And I think you should do it too. It's one of those things that helps, especially when you are working in a team. Everybody should understand what it is. You don't commit can and most people can pick that. Just try to incorporate it to your own workflow. It really helps. It helps a lot. It helps the entire team, not just you. So take your time to write your commit. And if you are using like a tool that helps you to write it, yeah, all well and good. This is one that wrote the commit for me. I just copied and formatted it the way I wanted. Still the same. Okay, so and for this implementation, call the annotation gallery, right? So created the annotation gallery. No, let me call it something else. I won't call it gallery. I'll just rename it to export annotation to gallery. Yeah. So that's a better name. Yeah? It's not a better name, but then it's a better way to understand what was done. So we have this. I'm only committing all of the files. I'm leaving out the README files, even though I know that yes, we have to README stuff there that was used. But I'm not bothering about that. I'm not even including the demo, just the 6 files I have here. So I'm adding this to VCS so that I can just have access to them here. And then I commit all of this, generate commit message for it automatically. So once I do that, it means that yes, our implementation works perfectly well. At least so far, we're able to create this, write a stuff. But there are still more things to do. Like I said, there are still a lot of things you can do. This is not the end of it. So far so good. We have our implementation this way. I can mark this, right? I can come back and say, okay, I want to write a text beside this, or say I want to add a rectangle here and use yellow to mark it this way. So if I mark it this way, I say, okay, this is what I want to save. So I can save this. So the moment I save this, automatically I know it is already my extension. I can go and check from the extension. Now I have three. This is the last one I just saved, which is this one. You can see 545, which is literally correct. And if I check, you can see the yellow color here. You can see the yellow color here. So that means it saved the file with the annotation and everything I did. So that makes a lot more sense, right? Okay, you time that. Let's just use this to generate it. So this is what we are trying to do. And then you can download it, you can delete it, you can tag it if you want. Currently, we don't have the tag feature, but we can have that, right? What we can do is we can have tags so that you can just add your tag right here. So the next thing to do is to create a sync engine for it so that as I'm creating it here and storing it here, it's also appearing in my database. So that means I need to create a database for it. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use a framework or a platform called Convex. This is Convex. This is Convex. This is one of my projects I'm working on. I'm not going to use this, so I'm just going to click on Convex. This is what my dashboard looks like, right? This is what my dashboard looks like. And I can just create a new project, right? I'm going to create a new project and call it Hanumac. So in case you're not familiar with Convex, let me tell you what Convex is all about. Convex.dev, I think. It's .dev.org. I'm not entirely sure right now, but yeah, this is Convex. So Convex is a backend platform that keeps your app in sync. So what you do is, as you're writing a Convex, the same way I told you about live query in Dexy, which is you are able to do this using Dexy, where you have stuff, something like this using Dexy, live query that allows you to be able to query instantly, like reactively, in terms of observability, if you're familiar with observability, or reactivity using Dexy. You also have the same thing with Convex. So now, if you look at it, you can see that we are using two frameworks, or let me say two libraries in this case, that allows you to keep your data in sync. So it simply means as I'm writing stuff in Dexy, I'm simply sending it to this Cloud DB that takes the same schema and everything and create it for me in Convex. So that I can store it, I can use it, and that's it. And the beauty thing about this is because they have similar way of querying it. I can query Indexy using use query, right? As I think it's here. Okay, I can use live query here to use live query. In Dexy, there's a way to also query using use query. So they are similar, they have similar APIs, even though they are not the same, but they have similar APIs. And that makes it easy for us to use. Now I'm trying to move as fast as possible because I want this completed today. So I want us to complete our to-do list, which is 4, 5, or 4 and 6. In this case, the 5 should come later. Well, we can start with that, but I want us to implement 5 before we start with it. Of course, it's not compulsory because it's just something we can do afterwards. But 4 and 6, can we really build? Oh, sorry, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We can't build a mobile app today, but that might be what we just do in the final part of the series, which is tomorrow, which is why where we'll be building the mobile app and we'll be connecting it to our extension, basically. So can we do that? Of course, we've already achieved 70% of it because now we've created an extension successfully, right? Successfully created an extension, created our extension like this. Let me try it again. I'm going to create. You see that this doesn't affect me anyway. All I need to do is just click a button that is being hovered on my web page and just create it and annotate it by saying cool extension, no, cool library. Dexy is a cool library. So I'm just going to write something like this, right? And then I'm going to do this. So this way, I just wrote this text. Dex is a cool library. And then I can just come to the ellipses and just mark it with pink and say something like this. Now, the reason why it lags here is because of the undo redo implementation we did. It has a lot of like it's not optimized, I guess. I'm still going to work on that. But this, you guys know it works. Right? I think I've shown that before. Right? I can do this. If I click undo, I can take it back. And you can see it's gone. I can redo and add it back to it, the scaling and everything. So I'm going to save and export this. So I'll save and export it, go back to my extension pop-up, click on my notations, and you see that it's there already. So this is it. And if you want to see the annotations I did just now, you can see. Let me like zoom into it. There should be a way to still zoom into it, which I've not implemented yet. My laptop is hanging. Just hold on a minute, please. This is why do you lag most times? I struggle to understand why. Why is it red? Oh, that's weird. That just happened out of the blue. Okay, so this is what I was trying to show you guys. Why is it happening this way? Is this extension that is the file that large? That's 5 megabytes. What? All right, so I think the first thing we need to do now is try to like make it or save it in a smaller format. Right now, this is extremely large. The fact that one of our image gives us 5 megabytes is crazy. And you can see I can keep track of the extensions I've made. So how do I do this in such a way that when I delete all of this, let me delete this, it's too large. I don't want them to have anything. You can see it works real time. The moment I click it and remove it, it works in real time. It deletes automatically. Like I said, it's reactive. So the index DB is reactive. Now we are trying to use a cloud that is also a cloud DB that is also reactive. This is the power of what we are trying to build here. And that's why I say we have an edge over our competition, like a very big edge over our competition. Trust me. Yeah, I know I see that a lot. But then I really do believe we do. All right. So okay, this is fine. This is fine. We already have this done and implemented. Let's go to all right. So I'm going to save this automatically and I'm going to commit and push this because export is fine, right? Let's work on the new one. Now, the reason why I'm trying to rush this, like I said, I don't want to push the engine to tomorrow. I want us to complete the engine today. We know that we've created it, provisioned everything that we need to provision. It shouldn't take time, probably like 10-15 minutes. We should have that. So why this stuff was lagging before, I thought it was just my redo implementation, but it has to do with the size. So we have to make sure that we find a way to shrink the size before saving it, right? Why still not losing quality? There are ways to do that. Just that it's going to require the optimization algorithm you will decide to use or how you decide to do it depends on you though. But this is going to work fine, so we shouldn't bother much about that. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste this here. Create pull requests, assign myself. Okay, I didn't get to do that. Request review from who? Nobody. Still me. All right, so I'm going to just since I already pasted, I didn't paste it in description. Oh shush. All right, I'm going to go to timeline since I didn't paste in description. I'm going to paste it here again. Create the description. You can see it generates this stuff for me, but I'm not going to use that one. I don't have time to write all of this. Even though this gives detailed summary of what was done, so I'm just going to use this instead. Um, I'm going to paste this here. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, no. All right. I need to make this, need to make this, need to make this. Annotation gallery, this, index it, the gist, this. All right, so that's fine. So I'm going to save this as the changes I have. As you can see, works perfectly well. So that's done. I'm going to push this, merge it directly because, yeah. All right, now that we've meshed this, I'm going to implement a new feature, which is installing Convex. So using Convex is pretty easy. So I'm going to go back to the one I showed you guys just now. I showed you Convex, right? So this is it. So it's just simple. It has all of this server function. We can even store files directly in Convex, but we might not need to do that this time around. But like I said, it's just storing. So two things are going to happen. We want to have every user should have like their uh what's the way to define this? So let me show you guys what I mean. Right, this we are going to be using Convex. We've created the table, the database already, so we are already settled on that. So what we are going to do now is we want a sync engine between the extension and the mobile app. So we already have the images stored locally on our database, right? On our IndexDB, yeah, on our local database, which is IndexDB, which is cool. We already have that done. Next thing we want to have is we want to have it also in like using Convex, right, on the cloud DB, so that it's not just on our local DB, so we can sync that. So that is what we need Convex for. So Convex will be where we store uh like a URL to the images themselves, to the annotations, not the images themselves. So the images will be stored on an external stuff. So Convex is not where we're going to store that, even though Convex can do that for us. But like I said, it's for file storage, for cron jobs, vector search, ACID, and blah blah blah, all of those things. It has a lot of stuff, but that's not what we want to like use it for. We want to use it to store data and also query the information on the mobile side so that we can query the information and display it at once. So we are going to be using a library called ImageKit to undo the storage. So we're going to be using those three things. So ImageKit to undo the storage and all of those things. So let's just do that. It shouldn't take a lot of time to implement, like literally. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to the doc. I'm going to go to the source. I'm going to go to all of this index. Okay, so we have all of this working. We have just one red mark, which I'm trying to ignore. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Convex, right? There's a get started page, which is like documentation. So I'm going to go to documentation and then I'm going to pick what I need. In this case, it is installing it directly. So in this case, you see Convex allows you to use any of these frameworks, including React Native, React, Node.js. In this case, we don't need Node.js, we need JavaScript because basically we are creating a library, right? So that means if you are using that also, you can access it from Node.js or any JavaScript runtime that implements fetch or WebSocket. So that means you can basically use Convex this way. Just create a new client with Convex that allows us to be able to do this by subscribing to query result. And other ways we can do it is the moment we save it from any of those places, because we are using the script, we can use it in the messaging We can use it anywhere else. We can use it in the messaging where before we send. Let me show you what I mean. So when I click the export is used in annotation client components. So in the annotation engine component. So when I click export button here, you can see export image. Export image does this. It creates the element of a canvas. It gets the 2D context. It draws the image. It does. This is where we are going to like shrink. They are going to compress the image because it's too large. So it calls the export PNG. The moment it calls the export PNG, we have the URL here, and then it sends it to the on export, which is cool. In this case, what you can do is you can create this same URL and send that data URL, right, to our image kit component. Then send from the image kit component. The moment we are done, upload it directly to Convex. But the idea is that we want to have the same thing that we have here, the same thing that we have. Where is it here? We want to have it in Convex. So this is going to display on your mobile also the same way. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what we are trying to implement. So I know this shouldn't take time. This is something that we can do once. So let's get started on this. So going to this, we are going to use the JavaScript client. Also, we can use the React client, right? Because we can do it in such a way that we can use this. There are many ways we can do this to make it easy. But I'm going to also show you the image we want to use. So I'm going to use image kit. So image kit here is going to show me a dashboard. I already have a project that's going to tell me to log in. So I should be logged in right now, right? So once I'm logged in here, this is going to show my email. I don't want to show my email here. I think I'm already showing it. But then what I'm saying is that I have image kits. I can try to create a new account or use the existing one I have, which is fine, no problem. And then when I decide to use that, we can use this one here, which is we can use Convex. Decide to use Convex wherever we want to use it. So which is what we are going to start by using. So I'm going to like prompt the AI to that instead of me writing it. So I want to use image kit I want to upload. So we currently have a local implementation storage implement. We currently have index
It's 18 hours.
DB for storing images, the exported annotations, and which works perfectly. The next thing is to have we already have that we spoke about is to have what is to store the image to an external cloud store. I want to use image kit for this. What do you think? Can you implement image kit for storing the image exported after saving to index DB? So it's just a question I'm asking it to answer here, which it can, basically it can. So I'm going to close this because I want to like keep that. The next thing I have is once I do this, I have this, right? So how do we use it? Let me close this. All right, so let's pick one of the integrations here. Let's just assume we have one of the integrations here, and we can use any of this. We can also use the JavaScript SDK to make that work. So this is how you can use that using JavaScript. So it's a lightweight dependencies. We understand. Blah blah blah. I install this. I installed this. Where's the documentation for this? For server side, I'm using server side lightweight. This is this. Utility functions to generate image and videos using this. Load the file to this. All right, so let's check the JavaScript implementation here. This doesn't have dark mode, so you guys should bear with me, please. So we have this JavaScript image SDK. So to make it easy for our AI to understand or to use this, right? Because I know it will struggle to do this. It will tell me yes, I understand how to do it, but it will struggle. So what we are going to do here is we are going to copy for LLM. So I'm going to create a documentation called. I'm going to create just a new directory here called LLMs. Let me just LLMs. So me creating this documentation means I want to paste a file called JavaScript image SDK, which is JavaScript. Okay, no, let me call it image kit JavaScript md. That way, I'm telling it that use this resource to understand how to use the JavaScript SDK. So this way, it has a resource to use, even if it misbehaves and doesn't do what I want it to do. So I'll say based on my exploration, blah blah blah. I can see this image kit and NHS for cloud storage over yes, 20 gig per month, which is a generous tier. Yes. So we can use this for a start for our users. Nobody needs to know. Don't go tell them. So we have the CDN delivery, we have easy REST upload by REST API. You're not using REST API. Browser-based upload, architecture analysis. We have the storage strategy. So it says I recommend the library that keeps index for metadata and use image kit for image story. Keeps IndexedDB for annotation, this and this. Store image in image cloud storage. Store image kit in URL in IndexedDB instead of base64 data, which I actually agree with. We don't want to store the actual size because it grows exponentially as we have seen for now. But even if we implement the compression algorithm that we want to implement, because we can, we still want to be able to we want to leave the storage of the data actually to the cloud. But the reason why I don't want to do that is I will like to do that, but I would refuse to do that also because I want the user to have it locally, not in storage. That provides them easy access to it without being online. If they are not online, they can access the annotation, and that defeats the offline first purpose I'm trying to implement. So I'm going to tweak that to say no, I want it to be like this. So it says storage, keep the IndexedDB for annotation, store images in image kit cloud storage, store image kit URL in this, optional keep small thumbnails in exactly. So this is it. So I'm going to tell you to keep the thumbnails in IndexedDB for offline storage, which we are going to use. So phase one, set of image kit service. Okay, so he actually knows what to use. So I'm going to use the image kit JavaScript library, create image configuration with your API keys. I'm going to paste that in. I'm going to go offline to paste that in, return, share my screen again, modify storage schema, update this, of this and this, upload integration, display integration, management features, bulk upload, blah, blah, blah. I don't think I want all of those. Just upload image to image kit first, store image kit URL in IndexedDB. No. Undo upload failures gracefully, fall back to local storage. Okay, so update gallery with this, undo offline handling for when image kit URL accessibly. And key efficiency, reduce index DB size significantly. I agree with this, but that's the optional. But it actually helps because the more annotations you create, if you keep creating it, it's going to make your website slow, your your browser slow because if you increase it too much, it will increase significantly. So I agree with that. Actually, we are going to store it online, but we are going to keep a thumbnail that can be used locally. So yeah, that's what we're going to use. Um, so I'm going to set up my image kits credentials. So I'm going to go offline to set that up. I'm going to go back to image kits, pick my credentials, and all right, just a minute. I'm going to pick the URL. Like I said, I'm going to add a new one. I'm going to call it okay. So what I'm going to do is, in order for this to work, I'm not going to use my current library. I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to log out and create a new account, which I'm not going to share still. I can't share that online because I'll upload to nations. But I'm going to sign in with the current one I'm using. Um, that what we use for our storage. All right, I'm coming just a bit. All right, just a minute. I'll be back. Just trying to set up the final stuff. Um, all right, so yeah, finalizing, signing, done. Okay, so we're back. Um, External storage. So I need the URL endpoints. So I copy this. I create a new one. Call it an mark. So I'm going to create a new one. So I'll just copy the stuff here, basically. Copy the URL that we need. That's a public URL, right? I guess. Yeah. So I'm going to create the. So now we need to create an EMV file. We don't have that before. We created that initially at the beginning, then we deleted it. Um, so I'm going to call it emv.chrome. I'm going to paste image kit URL, image kit public key, private key. So we need to replace the public key with this one. All right, so this is our public key. We paste this here. It's our private key. We also paste that here. Right, and then we're set up. Okay, so sorry guys, bear with me. You understand what we need to do? Yeah. All right, so we're back. Let me start sharing again. All right, so this is it. We have everything copied, and these are examples of how to use it. So I already have all of these things also set up for my EMV file. So yeah, so I'm just going to tell you to have my EMV file set up. Uh, yes, I have my image kit credentials set up already. Also, I want the thumbnail for every export saved locally. This is so that the app is the extension is truly mobile first. This is very important. So that's extremely important. So the image kit uses this. We know what we need to do. So we are going to create a documentation as usual. You guys are familiar with that by now. So I'm going to create a documentation image kit integration .md. So I'm just going to tell it to write the implementation plan in image kit integration so that I and other LLMs can track the progress of this implementation as whether it is completed or not completed. Proceed. So this is me already telling you what to do. So what I'm expecting now is just for you to implement it. So like I said, image kit is what we are going to use. It's easy for us to do this. And we're going to be using convex as well. I think that is straightforward. So everything we need basically has been set up. We need image kit done. We need convex done. Let me close this. Image kit done, convex done, and where's convex again? Yeah, done. So we just use that, and so whatever we have here, the same way we have the data here, when you go to your mobile phone to check it out, you should see the same thing literally. That's what we are trying to implement. You will see the same thing from your mobile phone. So that means we build an app for it that enables us to be able to see the same thing, right? So the AI is ready to work. You see, I understand your requirement. Mobile first with local terminal is crucial for offline and quick loading. Track implementation progress and documentation. We've already created credentials. We can focus on that. Since I'm in plan mode, I cannot write files, this and this. Local storage, thumbnails, metadata offline storage. Perfectly compulsory, in fact. So cloud is resolution, this. Now this is not set in stone. There are things we can always change. So I'll just set it to work on it. Why? Because we already have a perfect integration scheme that works. So that means we can implement the local feature. And the reason why I'm trying to rush this up is because I want us to finish this tomorrow. That's the last part of this series. But if you ever want to see any new thing added, or probably you're trying it yourself, you get stuck, always feel free to reach out to me. I will uh, as much as possible, create time to answer your questions, answer anything that you might still have as um, a blocker, wherever it is. So always feel free to drop a message, and I'll be available to answer all of those questions as well. So yeah, that is it. So let's wait for this to just write everything that he wants to do. Write the integration, documentation, and what it needs to also completely implement. So I just wanted to implement that. One thing I forgot to add was to tell it to use the image kit javascript.md that I have here to make changes. So I'm not going to interrupt it. I'll just tell it to use that. But that is supposed to guide it on what to do. So, right, so that it makes sure that you use all the APIs that are needed required by ImageKit successfully without having any issues. Because it might go ahead to hallucinate or use an older version of when the model was first trained. All AI does that. They tend to use things from like 2021, 2022, 2023. All AI does that. In case you're not familiar with it, trust me, all AI does that. So it's something they always do, and that is like very, very annoying when you're expecting to be using the latest libraries and they just give you code that breaks your code, wrong APIs, wrong functions, wrong methods, and then you are wondering why. It still happened right in this same hour. Like that was like when we were working on the Dexy implementation, right? It took a while for that to work. The first attempt didn't work. I had to tell it do it this way, do it this way, and then it fixed it, then implement the right thing. So that is the same problem right now. So this is our implementation strategy. We create the annotation, we upload to the image to CloudKit, local storage thumbnail, metadata into IndexedDB, full image URL to IndexedDB, the metadata URLs to IndexedDB too. But the thing is, I don't want that to happen, right? Local, it shouldn't upload the image kit before creating the local storage thumbnail. I think I'm going to make that change. I'm going to say, okay, that's added the library. I'm going to stop it and say, I want to should I stop it? I don't want to interrupt it. A quick change to the architect. The after an annotation is created, creates the thumbnail. I wanted to create that, I forgot totally. Thumbnail before sending it to the cloud. That is image kit for storage. This is so that if the user is offline, the annotation is still stored. Let's do this successfully. So the reason why that is wrong is because you can see it as a sync. You can see it having something called a sync, right? Which is reasonable. Remember, we are building a sync engine. We need certain component for our sync engine to be complete. We need to have an image storage system. We need to have a database that can manage our sync, that can sync properly with what we have. And remember, I said we are using the same schema from our IndexedDB. So what it's doing currently is to create all the types that it's going to use for handling this thing. So he understands that I already have an annotation library. I have an IndexedDB schema that can be used. What he needs to do is to create that same schema and create it as a type. Now, when we install Convex also for use, we're going to use that same implementation to handle everything. So how do we implement Convex? Before we round up with today's episode, what I'm going to do here is to go here, go to the JavaScript, because what we are trying to do is to run Convex the moment you store your the moment the storage is complete, we want to automatically trigger convex so that it takes it, or whenever we are syncing the data. Remember, these are the things we want to do. So we're going to go to JavaScript also. I'm going to copy this as Markdown and create something for it to use. Automatically, we know that can work, right? So this is how it's going to do it. Converse can allow all of these things. We just paste the URL. It's just a script. It can work. So what we need to do is just query client.onUpdate any API.message.list. Literally the same thing. We are not using the hook currently because we can't use the hook the same way we didn't use the hook for Dexy. We just use the low level side. The same way we are going to use the low level side for context. It works anyway. Any JavaScript runtime, it works perfectly. So that's what we are going to do here. So I'm going to copy this markdown. So I'm going to paste it also here so that you can use that as a guide, right? So it's going to be me saying convex JavaScript MD. So that should allow me paste this here. So this is the guide for it is in convex also. This should allow it to make the latest decisions in case it wants to go off for any reason, deciding to hallucinate. It won't now because I have what I'm supposed to use. So I'm just going to allow you to do his thing, right? It's already started working, and if it looks like what is cool, I've seen some of the things it has added that it makes sense. It's going to generate thumbnails, yeah. I'm just going to tweak this to make sure that it generates the thumbnail before even sending it, just in case something fails. Because if it's create just the metadata without some of the important details, what if the user is not online and then you send it, and then because it fails, the image is not available anymore, just the metadata. I don't know what I annotated. That makes zero sense. And because we know the metadata can be very large in this case, from what we've seen so far, we need to make sure we also strip down some of the informations, which is understandable. We know why, but like I said, we need to compress the image. That is very, very important. The image we are going to be storing to to the cloud will not be compressed. Okay, it will still be compressed, but like a 60% compression. The one we are going to be storing to our index DB will be like 70% compression. So that means you're only storing 30% of the actual data quality initially. So that's what we are going to be doing. So that is expected, and that is something I have to work with. If not, yeah, we're expecting things to fail. All right. So he added something. I don't know why that is being added. I feel like this is not needed. But he's adding stuffs I don't think I need. It added the Dexy annotation v2. Why? Okay, yeah, just for sync implementation. Yes, for sync purposes. I understand why. All right, that makes sense. Okay. All right. So what the technologies we are using, Dexy, this and this, we need to go and have support for it. So the thing is, you need to go back to the docs for Dexy. The reason is because I wanted to use the actual stuff. So I think if I go back to the tutorial, which we went to the other time, I don't know if there's an AI that we can also copy, like a markdown we can use. I don't think that exists. But that's fine. Using Dexy with TypeScript, install this entity type data entity table, which is what we've used the other time as Dexy, and this, which works. We saw this work. So we have this as entity table, not just normal table, but it works. Table works. Entity table is a new implementation. Table still works. Everything is fine. Yes, and Dex is just interesting to use, really. Like I don't know how much to explain it, how best to explain it, but it is extremely easy to use. It's something you use and you just be impressed that, oh wow, this is cool. Like it's extremely cool. So example with using Dexy Cloud, for instance, Sync Table has a few more properties that I would have used Dexy Cloud. The reason why I'm not using Dexy Cloud is because I don't know how good the support is for mobile. I've not tried that. So I don't want to risk it and try and error in this implement in this series. Sync table have a few more properties that are similar to is additional on inside but required on is required from the DB. There's a criteria part type to use for sync. See, the cloud implementation tool is just cool because it syncs automatically with your local without you need to do anything. Like imagine having to do that and you don't even need to bother about how it works, like at all. That is a cool thing to have. So yeah, I would really like you to get started with Dexy. Dexy is a cool product. No, but they're not sponsoring this. It's just the way I like love the way they work. I've used it and I like what it is they build, and yeah, so that's quite interesting though. So this is it. This is the cloud setup. You create a simple offline first app with storage and sync, deploy it to your own free static hosting on GitHub, install it on mobile. Oh wow, it works on mobile. Oh my god, I didn't know it works on mobile. Wow, that's cool. Okay, this is cool. This is cool. This is cool. So create a simple offline first app with storage and sync, deploy it to your own free static hosting on GitHub, install it on mobile, see it sync between mobile and desktop. Wow. Go through the code. Not this mobile and desktop is I hope it's not PWA and stuff. We are trying to build an actual mobile app which works. Go through the code to learn the basics. Optional PWA, okay. Not super fancy because Bubbles is understand the code. So using this npm install, cloud create, a little script that configures your app and database for this, run this, deploy the PW to this, create a new repository, create this, build this, run deploy, npx dixie this. For reference, the original app is installed here, deployed here, and if I open this, let's see what we have. Now this is cool. This looks nice. I like what I see here. So I'm probably going to try like the cloud implementation, but it doesn't really give me much here though. But I think it's going to be cool to try. So far, I don't think there are any errors here. So far, I think everything works well. I don't know. I haven't gone through it, but it seems it works well. So the delete annotation handler. Why is it deleting the annotation handler? Why? 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 I need that. Oh no. Oh, it's in the dual storage. Okay. Okay. Ah, yes. I'm back. Okay. I'm going to try this just to see how the code looks like. So there's a sample app. Let me check the app also. See how it works. Download directory, GitHub. Why do I need to go here? Well, why didn't I choose the GitHub link? All right, so let's check from GitHub just before we round up. Why this is rounding up also. So let's see, it's building it, and I think build should work fine. So far, I've not seen any errors. So let's see how this works. Say we do the same thing from the file. Okay, activating the service worker. If you okay, so I don't think this can work for an actual mobile app with Expo. Like I said, I've not tried it before. I'm not trying to risk it. But if you are building a web app, probably mobile one or PWA, it works perfectly well. I mean, in terms of the cloud implementation, I've not tried the other changes before. So yeah. So how can we try this out? We know that one when we create any data here, we can go to ImageKit to actually see the result. So what that's one thing we are going to do. So I'm going to go to ImageKit here. We have this, right? Now I'm going to go to media library because that's where we are going to have these are the sample images, right? This is where we are going to have any uploaded image added. So that's what we're going to do. So currently we see that this is done. This is editing the documentation to show that everything works fine. So far, I think there are little errors in the config. This has to be a type. Oh yeah, that's true. This is it's not a type. So you say new image kit. It's not constructible. Why is it not constructible? What does that even mean? This is coming from here, isn't it? JavaScript, literally from here. You can see image kits.this. Oh no. Oh yes, correct. It's not constructible. What do you mean it's not constructible? So how did they import it? Well, I think it's the same way. Right. So we spent way beyond the time I wanted to spend today, but I want us to finish this before we proceed. Like, just bear with me. We'll soon be done. Almost done. All right, so we have this. Just before we wrap up this, I'm going to. I wanted to make this change. I don't want to tamper with this until I'm sure it works or doesn't work. So how do we test that? I'm going to go back to the Plasmo here. I'm going to run this because it's going to refresh. And once this is refreshed, what happened to my. All right, so I'm going to invalidate this. So it's going to refresh. Once it is done, first thing I'm going to do is clear this. And is it built? So now you can see we have an environment variable loaded. It was smart enough to know that we needed that. I just call it .env.chrome and it worked. It's basically just an extension, an env file, right? So it doesn't matter. So I'm going to click this to see if our new implementation works. If it works, if it breaks, if it works, fine. If it breaks, fine. We are still going to know we've done it today and we're going to mark it on our checklist. So I know we are going into actual implementation. We are actually battling to see if we can complete it in 2 hours. Ah, this is not easy. All right, so I'm going to go to the extension. I'm going to use that to like refresh the extension. Refresh, 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 refresh. It has grown to 87 MB, so I'm going to refresh this. Now clicking on this now should get this page. Once we get the page, it feels like the code is breaking. It's taking much time, much more time to work. Nope, it works fine. These other errors are not from it actually. They're just errors from other extensions. What is happening here? Alright, this is not working as I expected. What is happening? Okay, something is happening. It's either two things. Either it's from my browser or I don't know. But this is supposed to work fine. Probably going to try it from somewhere else. Then I need to import it from somewhere else. Nah, I'm not doing that now. Service worker is inactive. Why is it inactive? Oh, registration failed. Oh, now it's not working. It's truly not going to work. Why? What caused it now? Loading annotations. I think it has to do with the index DB, I'm sure. I think I've messed up some things because I created new versions and new versions and new versions. Okay, so I think this is something I don't want to do on the call. We've already spent 2 hours, 30 minutes here. This is not the plan. So we're going to end this here today. I'm going to try resolving this as much as possible. I'm not going to bore you guys with fixing bugs on this. The essence of doing it here is to see the implementation of the where. So let's go to thumbnail generator. It says document is not defined. So let's look for document.create elements. Where do we have that? We have it in a lot of places. So why is this one not working? Why is it complaining here? If you have it in annotation call, start capture, even in the service, and it all works. So why does it fail here? Okay, so the document is not defined. This from this line, view in dev tools. Okay, so this is just messy right now. Service worker fails. So this will not work until I kind of fix this. I'm sure. It says document is not defined. Like I don't even understand what that means. Like this is literally a JavaScript file. Document is a global. Okay, just calm down. This happens. I'm running this in a class. Yes, that might truly not work. So I'm going to use this last thing I'm going to do to check to see if it works or not. So what I was also checking here, or would have loved to check here, is how this is being done or processed, because truly this is the default credentials, which is used from the index and is used properly. From the uploads, we are using image kit as a type, which is not a type, so that will not work. Um, oh, it's already designed the way I described it. Okay, that's cool. So if it's already designed, so the next thing is I get this error when I why do we have this error and how do we resolve this? So we're waiting for this to be complete, right? Because you know that this has been started, but we need to also complete it. Now it's going to say, oh yes, I see the error. It's coming from the tumbling generator service, trying to access a static method incorrectly. So it says, let me check the error, the problem, and provide a fix, which we expect it to do normally. And so once it finds the issue, it says, looking at the dual storage, I can see the issue in line 68, which is this. This should be this. What's the difference? Oh, capital C. Constructor is trying to access project that doesn't exist. Static method directly from the class. All right, so I think that's true. Okay, so it should be this. All right, so it's fine, and that should be all. Should be this. Root cause is this. Additional issues to check. All right, let's check it again. Refresh this. Okay, service registration still fails. Says the image kit is not initialized, call initialize first, which is true. I'm going to have another one. So that means this is fine. I'm going to just paste it here. It's that I get image kits not initialized, called initialize first. Okay, so I get this nice. I have made this thumbnail fix. It works now. Now there is another error. This error, I believe, for to help you understand how image kits works better, I have provided, so I'll link it to the one I created before, that's image kits javascript or md file that you can use to understand how image kits works. um, this is the documentation from the latest image kit library. Use this as context. Proceed with. So I'm just going to ask this without telling to proceed. Now I know there are certain issues like Dexy storage to has an issue here, which is like using for each on the collection. Which, yeah, I think it should be for each, not for each. So it should just be each like this, and that should fix it. So using for each will not work. Key doesn't complete picture. Image key not initialized. Call initialize is happening because it does it's trying to use image key before it is initialized. Save initialize is called. Tries to do this. Upload results is this before this. But this LLM is quite smart today. It doesn't really get this smart. Sometimes it can be so dumb. You can say probably because it's because I'm using free mode. That's why I don't see all of those things. I've used the paid versions multiple times before, so I kind of understand the differences between them. But still, the significance are not that much. The use case, if you really want to do something complex, of course, use a paid version. But for something like this, a free version still does it better. Or let me not say better, it does it best for the price, really. Like, it's just no brainer at this point. So it says two options. Option A, initialize in dual storage is recommended. Modify dual storage. Let me go for dual storage. Initialize the image key 2077. Initialize this. Try this and use this. Lazy initialization, which is not recommended. It's cleaner, more robust, consistent, blah blah blah. Let me see the fix. I'm fixing myself. So let's see initialize. Initialize function. Where is the initialize function? Yeah, here. So this is initialize return. You try this. Initialize return 9 storage. This initialize image kit if credentials are available, which is this, which we are importing dynamically. Yeah, that makes sense. So initialize to be true. So it's literally the same thing. What do you ask me to change? I don't see difference. Okay, I want you to show me the fix before he tries to attempt to before he tries to implement it because I can't really see the difference here. I can see initialize image kits, which it's also part of what he recommended here. So there's usually no difference between what he's here currently and what he's suggesting. So you see option A, current initialize this is this. Bro, check what you are telling me to do is wrong. I've literally done what you said. Initialize this if it's available. So I'm just going to tell it I have done that, but it still gives the same error, because it does literally gives the same errors even after we did it, because that's what we have currently, but the error still persists. You can see image kit not initialized, this and this, which is, yeah, same thing. So same error. So let it check again. I'll just allow it check again. Now, if it doesn't do this time around, it's probably because the context is almost full. So it might not tell you the actual context it has used, but yeah, it's not always like the best way to look at it. So the error this suggests that the upload annotation function is being called, but the image key 7 is still returning false. User saves annotation, data storage or save, data storage or save to local, upload to cloud. Upload the cloud calls upload annotation from image kit, then image checks initializations, config, return, blah, blah, blah. The image kit is never been initialized at all, doesn't call the initialize image kit. It does. For crying out loud, it's there, it's there. Like, I'm struggling to understand. You wrote this code yourself. I didn't even touch it. And now it's telling me it's not there. Okay, fine. I accept. It's not there. I should write it this way. I've accepted you. I'll just say okay. I'll press the same stuff again. Same error message. And you guys will see what's going to happen. So pasting the same error message is just going to repeat. It's going to fix the issue now. And you see what I'm going to get. So I'm going to say, yeah, this is the error. Yeah. So I'm going to paste it in the new um in the new chat. It says there's another error. I'm just going to say there is an error when I load this extension. It says this. So I'm already providing it what to use as context, right? I provided it all the file in it, provided it the image kits that I copied from the documentation, which you should be able to use. So it says the user is reporting this and this and this, provided this to help it works, blah blah blah. So it's going to go through the code base and use the knowledge it has to make a fix. So most probably that will be the best approach in this way to get this working perfectly well. So it is little errors like this that prevent you from finishing stuffs like this in an hour. I believe you guys see it now. So it's not always as you see it online. Sometimes it's just good to try it yourself to see if it works. As people say it does. Um yeah. But okay, let's just see. It's not call initialize what is occurring because with circular initialization issue in your code. Thank you. When this is called, it tries to initialize the image kit. The image kit upload service immediately called this. And this throws the error because the instance has been created here, which is correct. This is actually where the error is coming from. If you check here, you see it's coming from the get instance, which means this one actually knows where it's coming from. The error is coming from get instance, which is very valid. So it's correct. Um, the key issues found mismatch. Your Chrome uses this, but your code uses this. Constructing installation, the upload key tries to get this. How do you fix this issue? Updates to use the correct variable name. Why should it be my Chrome that is updated? In fact, you know what? Just do it. Improve this. I can always use the same name later. So So I'm just going to tell you to proceed. It's going to ask me to switch to act mode. I'm going to switch to act mode to proceed with the generation. I'm just going to do everything. Now, so far, we already know what we have with the thumbnail, right? We can create annotations, we can mark them, we can draw axes on them. Now, the idea or the reason why we create this or why we are creating this is to actually package it, put it on the Chrome store, and then you can get people to buy it, right? Like this is real life stuff. I want to start it. I want to build a product, launch the product, see if people can use the product, and what we get if people start using the product. Do we get users? Can we literally get users? And this is something I'm also planning. I'm planning a series whereby I will literally do a 60-day build from scratch series to see if I can actually raise funds this year. And I'm going to do that. And I'll tell you guys every single day how long it takes to raise the funds. I'll share everything that happens from start to finish. I'm going to choose the image, choose the app, and I'm going to start it. And I'll make sure it works. I'm going to show you guys how that works, honestly. So yeah, just stick to it. If you want to see that, if you want to see that actually, just click the subscribe button so that you get notified when that drops. Because I'm going to point you to when that's going to happen. It's going to happen very soon. I don't have a date in mind, so I can't tell you a date, but I can promise it's going to happen very, 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 very soon. And it's going to be one of the best series you've ever watched online, not just on this channel, no, online. It's going to be fun. It's going to be engaging. It's going to be like literal communications. Every communication I make, everything is going to be on live. It's going to be live streamed. Everybody will know what is happening. How long does it take to actually raise funds? To raise a fund, to raise funding for your product. I'm going to build a product live. I'm going to get it to work. I'm going to like publicize it everywhere. I'm going to share it. I'm going to hide the product. I'm going to open source some of them. To be an actual product that I'll be building day and night to see how long it will take me. This is not going to be a 2 hour series. It's going to be like live series spanning across many days, weeks, months until we get funded. How long does it take us? Do we actually get funded? How much are we going to get funded because of what we are building? Trust me, this is going to happen. I'm going to do it, three of it, build three products, see which one gets funded first, see if we can fund any of them, see if they are fundable, see the mistakes I make, get the solution from the people watching it. I'm going to make that series this year and it's coming very, very soon. So subscribe to get notified for when that's going to happen. And please remember to like this video as well. It does a lot of good when you like the videos. Please like the video. Thank you so much. Yeah, so those are the things I have planned for this year. I have very cool things planned for you guys this year. I just want you to subscribe. So if you're not subscribed yet and you know someone that is not subscribed, point them to subscribe to this channel. So it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because I want to share updates. But I can't always reach you guys if I can share updates. That's the only way I can share update with you guys. So yeah, that's the reason. So yeah, let's wait for this to be done. So I'm going to actually use that series. I've been planning the series for a while, but I've not really gotten any clarity on when it's going to happen. But I think this is the clarity I need. I've shared it already. I'm going to start working on it. But we are back to the document issue. Really? Where did we fix it the other time? I can't remember when we fixed it. It was in generator, right? Um, all right, so to you, the error is fixed, but to me, the error is definitely not fixed. Now it's worse. Document is not defined. Okay, so let's see what's the next thing. I thought fix this? Why did you have to add it back? So let's see if you can get this done. So if we are done with this, then maybe we are done for today. What we're going to do next is to work on the sync. And basically what the sync means is you just push this URL now, because this is the essence of the cloud database we want. The cloud database is just to get the URL, the actual URL plus the information about the user, which we've not even implemented login and sign in yet, which we are supposed to implement using Click, which we have not even started. I've not even started with that, but we are going to do it. The reason why I'm saying we are going to do it is because I'm sure we're going to do it. I'll show you guys how to do that tomorrow. It's going to be very easy to set up. We go to Click, we get the sample documentation, we implement our app to look like the one from Click, sign in, use their whole sign in stuff, add the payment page to it for premium features, which we are not adding yet because we don't have premium features yet. We are going to add that after the first month of free usage. So if you're a new user, you probably get a free month. I'm telling you, I'm trying to make this actually marketable and a product that people can buy and purchase stuff from. It's going to be usable for you for free. But then if you want to support it, you should buy it as well. It's going to be like there for you to buy. Just a click of a button. You make the payment, you pay to me, or you pay to the company, whichever one works for you. It's fine. And then once you do that, then we can always have use that to also draw more people, more attention, get more people to work on it. And then also subscribe for better AI.
It's 19
If you guys
hours.
want it. But the point is just I want to show you guys how you can build something to make money from extensions. It's actually it's one of those features. Like I said, I've not done this before, but I know there are people that make money with extensions. I've seen that. I've seen people make money from extensions. They do. And I decided I wanted to try it. So instead of doing it alone, I decided to share with you people. So the essence of this video is just to share and to give you like a walkthrough. How long will it take? How do you do that? What do you need? I know the code is not the problem at this point most times. It is how to now use that. Do you have an idea? How do you flesh it out? What do you does it need to be perfect? Absolutely not. Zero doesn't need to be perfect. I can assure you, it doesn't need to be perfect. If you look at what we built so far, you realize, okay, when this is done, I'll show you what I mean. It doesn't need to be perfect because what I've done literally is not perfect. Trust me, like it is zero, not perfect, and that I can prove to you because there are a lot of bugs. The undo and the redo functionality works glitches. Literally doesn't even work fine. That's one of the issue we need to fix. It doesn't work fine. That's one. So these are fixes we'll be pushing out for versions, but we want to make functionality to work. Can you screenshot a particular page? Why not obstructing the user by seeing just that pop up? Yes. Once you've screenshotted the page, can you annotate the page by adding rectangles, drawings, using your freehand? Yes. Okay, once you can do that, can you make it available for the user to see on any of their devices once they are logged in? Yes. Okay, that works then. That's the main thing the user wants. Every other quirk is things we'll be working with and pushing as updates. So it even shows to the user that we are working on doing something. Your app. Stick to it, you implement it, you fix it, and then you start improving on it. There are certain apps I'm building. For instance, I showed you guys that last week, just the previous week, I created a Web3 mobile wallet, like from scratch, online, just like I'm doing here. And we had issues with the libraries, the extension, we had to fix it. It took about 2 days for that to be done. And we did it live on the call. I showed them how it was going to be done. I showed them how the fix was going to be done. I didn't do it personally. I showed it live on the call too. So if you're interested in that, feel free to watch that also. And the wallet is live. The mobile wallet is live. Of course, I've not pushed to Expo yet. There are still some fixes I wanted to do, but I've not had time because of this one and some other personal work I've been working on too. So this is just me telling you that yeah, it's possible. You can build stuff that makes sense. It doesn't have to be perfect at the beginning. Please don't give me the errors. Oh, finally the errors are gone. Yay. So now let's go back to let's go back to this. Now the errors have disappeared. Yes, I'm happy to see that. Okay, so we have our icon. If you click on this, it works again. Yes. And then we have this. So now that we know it works, we can click the ellipses, use the cyan, and do this, and it works. So we know it works fine, right? This is an example. I cannot do it to remove this completely. I can go to the rectangle, use the yellow, and paste this. I like it this way. It's fine. It's cool. And then I can click Save Export. Before I click Save Export, I want to see if I have annotation like that already. So if I load my annotations, I can see I have a sample like that, but it's different. So I have one on Plasma already, so it shouldn't affect me. But still, I just want to create a new one because it's a different stuff. So I'm just going to create a save and export. And once I do that and I go back to my annotations, I should have that automatically registered. If I refresh this, non-undefined use. Okay, the reason is simple. Is because we have actually tampered with the versioning system. And that I can agree with. But let's see if it works successfully. When we try that, did it work? Let's go here to confirm it. Let's inspect this. Let's go to the console. If it failed, we should have seen something like that. I feel like it failed. I can still get initial props. Oh no, no, that's a different thing entirely. That's a different thing entirely. Okay, so you show me the image width and height, which is correct. Page info, that's perfect. Okay, yeah, this works. So one thing to check is let's go to the image kit library to now see if it is there because the image kit will tell us if we actually have the data or not. So how do we do that? We go to image kit here. I go to the media library. So if I have it here, it should be uploaded. And I don't think that works because it's not uploaded. It should be here if it works. Like you should see it here by default. So that fails somewhere in between. I don't know where it failed yet, but we are sure it failed. So we need to fix that. All right. So now all the errors are gone. What is the other issue? Currently, the annotations doesn't even display properly. Let me close this. The annotation fails. We have non-undefined used stuff, which is fine. Let's see. Let me go to the storage, the text storage. I don't want to use all these version 1, version 2, version 3 yet because it's basically the same thing. But he's adding, you can see he's adding this to it, thumbnail URL, the image kit URL, then this, which is fine. But the truth of the matter is we are not moving from 1 to 2, so there's no point having 1, 2, and 3. So I'm just going to tell it to make a change because something has changed here. Um, so I'm going to create a new branch for this new implementation. It's going to be called image kit integration. So this is just basically as swift as possible. So I'm going to add every other thing I want except for the markdowns. Markdowns out. Then the two demo to out. I think that's basically it. This to this. This and so add this to VCS. So we should have 12 of this left. The documentation still has been added. That's fine. So I'm going to add all of this, commit all of this, generate a commit message for them. And I'm just going to commit it first. There's a reason why it works until it doesn't work perfectly. So I'm just going to say replace this with instead of having version. Now this is how you can implement the version. The reason why this is not working is because I need to make changes now that I've updated the version, like I explained to you. But you see that nothing breaks except for the fact that we don't have this size. So that's the only thing that doesn't work properly, which is understandable. But I don't want to have multiple versions. We've not even started using it yet. Now we have 3 versions until we go to production before we can start using versions. So I'm going to say, I'm going to paste this to the AI and say something like, I want to merge this three versions into one. Since I'm still in development and not in production, let's retain version 1. Can you do this? So I'm asking this question if it can. Obviously, what I'm going to do yet is I'm going to go and delete all the extensions. You can see the grid also works, it's responsive and also those are just specs that we added. Just make it usable. Let me say interesting to use. So the reason, if you can see here, you can see two things. You see the annotation tags, you see the annotations as a table. As you can see, there are three. You see the annotation V2, there are also three. And you see the annotation V3. V3 has not been created, I guess. But there are also tags here. So V1 and V3 should be created. Okay, V2 is a different table entirely because it was created as a table. As you can see here, V2 annotation. So this is exactly what we have. We have the thumbnail size in this V2. It was not in V1, as you can see. So this is how to handle this properly. So we can delete all of this because we don't need it. And if you go to V2, V2 still retains the same thing. You can see it ported the entire data with the thumbnail size and everything into it, which is fine. We want that to happen. So I'm going to say something first. Before implementing this, I will say when I check the gallery, I noticed that the I see displays none size undefined used, which used to display the total size used of annotations exported. Can we resolve and fix this? So using this implementation now, it should first fix this in the V2. And if it's not using the V2, then that means there's a slight issue. But you've seen how the table look like. So I just decided that there's no need doing that anymore. Like it's not needed. So let's just fix this. We can leave the versioning and then we can combine it eventually. Since we are still working with, like I said, this is just dev. I don't want to remove all of this that's supposed to work. So says then reporting an issue where this is this. Look at the gallery, start by examining this. Annotation this used. Usage is defined or not. 5 for small size, return this, blah blah blah. So those things I noticed is cloud storage. The cloud storage doesn't work. And until the cloud storage works, our sync engine cannot work. And that's going to be a problem. Literally, if our sync engine doesn't work. So we need to make sure we get that working as soon as possible. This is our sync engine. These are cloud storage rather. One thing to even check, which I should have done, is let's check the extension. There was error when we did that, right? It said missing description. No. Okay, yeah, this is it. So when I installed it, it said fail to save annotation. This is where the problem comes from. Fail to save annotation. Annotation with ID this not found. Fail to update annotation with this. Fail to update annotation with this. Image is not defined. Wow, there's a lot of bugs. You know what? I'm going to Well, it basically has created the entire thing. I don't think I need the V2. So you know what I'm just going to do? Just going to call this V1. There's literally no difference between V1 and V2. So this leaves. Um, so I'm just going to remove this. I'm going to do this. So this is what I need. I'm just going to copy this. And I'm going to remove all of this. I create a simple versioning system, which is just one of these. Version 1 stores, that's all. Nothing too crazy. So just the way we have the one, the annotation tag, the tag and ID, and 3 already does that. So there's no need and none of this complexity. I'll just do the comments so in case the AI wants to modify it, no need for the database versioning because we are using the we are still in dev and not in prod mode. So that is that. So I'm just going to say, so there are a lot of things that failed. There are things I noticed, which is when you do this, it fails the annotation. So two things I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to the annotation table, to the anno marker, which is this. I'm going to open the extension, go to my annotations. It's loading, yeah, because cannot get this. So basically just going to go back and delete because now we've cleared the schema, right? So it's not going to work again. That's why it's complaining of this. So what I'm going to do is just delete the DB. You can see delete. So I'm going to completely delete it. It's going to recreate it though. Currently we don't have it. It's going to tell me cannot do this. We need to fix the situation whereby we don't have this. Right, so currently we don't have that. Fail to get notification cannot provide this one. Define reading order by. If you go to the extension, we should be able to figure out where this is coming from. I'm going to do that. Okay, refresh this. So go back to like store the extension, create a new annotation, and then store it. And let's see what we get. So I'm going to create a rectangle. I'm going to add it to this guy. I'm going to save and export. Now saving and export this, does it work? Do we get errors again? Couldn't be saved. Yes, we get the same error. It says failed to save annotation because of this error. Can't also get in. So I'm going to paste all of these errors here to the AI. First of all, I'll come back here. So I get this error when I click the when I save and export a an annotation. These errors. So I'm going to paste this here. So it's going to pick it. I'm going to stop in the next 11 minutes. Exactly 11 minutes. Once it's 1928, I'm going to stop. And I'm going to try resolving this internally if it doesn't work. And then we can get it done. As you can see, we spent an hour fixing this bug, just this one alone. So imagine if I tell you, oh, I come online and see it is like, oh, I literally one-shotted this. Yes, everybody will be like, what? This is possible. But most of them are just false. Really. Like you do actual dev work, you know it doesn't work that way, to be honest. It's crazy stupid, but yeah, it's what it is. People say what they want. All right, let's see this. Okay, so let's see. How many minutes do we have to get this working perfectly? Well, it shouldn't take that long. We know what we have to do. We know how long it should take us. If only the AI doesn't have issues writing the file, yeah. So it should be fine. It's not writing anything, and it's telling me it's writing stuff. We are editing the file without editing anything. Oh my god! Started this nonsense again. Okay, we have 7 minutes before I end this. Sure, it should work. Okay, I think it's having issues writing any of the file. Just there without making any change. All right, no, just stop. Just stop. You're not even doing anything. You're just. I'll copy the same error, paste it again. I'll tell it I have this, fix this, let's get it done. Okay, so let's see the last thing this can do before we wrap up today. Say this sufficient, environment detection, blah blah blah, this. Okay, so that is the problem. So this one I commented out, which is the text storage, which I commented out and say I don't want the V2 again. That is a problem because now it's using this annotation V2 annotations everywhere, but it's usually not using the V2 anywhere. That's a problem. I wanted to use the V2 because that's what I want to use. Two things I can do. We don't want the V2, right? Because like I said, the actual one is annotations. So what I'm going to do is using annotation V2 is not going to work. I'm just going to stick to annotations like this. So if I use annotations like this, it becomes the V2 automatically because I'm not using V2. It's not needed. The V2 was just created because it was the update to the previous one, but I don't need the V2, so I'm just going to comment that out. And then when we talk about the table itself, we don't need that also because this is coming from is inheriting this, which is what I'm literally using here, and then it's inheriting the stored annotation V2, which is this, and which is different from the stored annotation. The stored annotation uses this, and this one is using the stored annotation v2, which uses where's the v2 again? Uses stored annotation v2, which is an annotation v2.ts, which is quite annoying that this just creates different files. Like so terrible, but it's fine because this one has all the exports, but now this is an external file, which I prefer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the X storage and make this use the v2 itself because that's what I wanted to use. Then I remove this table completely. If I'm going to comment it out because we're not using it, I'm not going to remove it yet. And this is going to cause a lot of problems, I know, but we're just going to get it to resolve it. So this is going to be where I'm going to end this today because yeah, we have a lot of mismatch now that we've changed the schema, and the mismatch is not going to make it work as expected because we've changed the schema and all of those things. So next thing we're going to do is now that we've done this, right? It's asking me to proceed. I'm going to say, yeah, let's check the Dexy storage .cs file. I have made changes to the Dexy initialization. Can you work with this to make the project work successfully? So after doing all of this now, I know very much for a fact that this shouldn't be a problem. We're not using the V2 anymore because it's not needed. So I'm going to comment this out. We are using this third annotation V2. Wherever we are using the V2 before was here, which is like we tried using the store annotation V2. But we don't need all the V2 stuff and the craziness that comes with it. So what I'm going to replace this anywhere I see the store annotations here. We are not using this at all, so it's going to throw errors everywhere. V2. You know what? I'm not going to even inherit. I'm just going to change this from V2 to the actual V. It doesn't matter. So it's going to change this from V2 to V. Yeah, and that should resolve the error once. Allow me to have V2 everywhere. Alright, so that is fine. I know we have the same name, different places. So why didn't you use this? Oh my god, what is this? Why do you allow me always do this? Why always this? So if you know there's that from here also, we can get this without needing to change it, right? Yeah, so it works. Yeah, backward compatibility. That's fine. So we can do this, and then everything just works perfectly well. All right. So we have this. We have this. We have this. I have made another change. Check if you can work with the new. Check Bexy again and see if you can make it work. So after doing all of this, like I said, we're going to stop here. So this is where I'm going to be ending this for now. And thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate you guys spending the time here every single time. And this will be where we stop for today. From our to-do list, we have just this to work on. Our sync engine is almost complete. Once we are done with the image storage, we just need to add it to Convex, and that's all. Then you can view the mobile app immediately and link it to fetching directly. So when we save there, it goes to the DB, we see it on the mobile. That's just the way we want to sync it. That's the sync engine we are trying to create. That's it. Then we sync the extension annotations with the mobile app. So this and this is going to work together. So once we build the mobile app, it's just going to be straightforward, very simple. Use the template, reuse the template, merge it together, make it work, and we are good to go. That's it. Nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy, just something basic that works, right? That's all. So we've seen the extension annotations with the mobile app, and then that is going to be it for the implementation. So this is where we're going to stop here, and see you guys in the next episode of the series. Come prepared, it's going to be the finale of the month. All right, thank you guys for watching. See you guys. Bye for now.